Hey guys, it's Griffin here, and welcome back to Pokémon HeartGold. Last time, we went to the Safari Zone one more time to talk about all the new Pokémon that can be obtained in the Safari Zone in the post-game with the new mechanics that are available to it. We went over every single Pokémon that's available. We talked about how exactly to get more items and how to upgrade the areas in the Safari Zone, and that took an incredibly long time. And although I'm happy with how things turned out, I'm more happy that it's over. This time, we're moving on to much greener pastures because today we are finally going to be going to the Battle Frontier. I know some people have been wondering if I'm actually going to cover the Battle Frontier, and yes, I do intend to cover the Battle Frontier. So, no time like the present. We're in Olivine City. Let's head on west on a Route 40 and go to the Battle Frontier. Battle Frontier ahead. Let's do this. Hello, good sir. The Battle Frontier is open. Please go ahead. Fantastic. We are now at the Frontier Access. There is an entire area here. There are lots of people for us to talk to. Click, click, click. Oh, it's you. I've gotten over being first all the time. Now I'm counting the number of people coming to the Battle Frontier. Of course, no one asked me to. It's just a hobby. Oh, interesting. Good to know. Normally choosing which Pokemon is all there is to a Pokemon battle. But when you change certain rules or limitations, the battle suddenly becomes even more fun. In this place, you can have such fun. It's called the Battle Frontier. Indeed it is, and we're going to learn a lot more about this place as we proceed further in. I can't stop shivering. I told my family that I would conquer the Battle Frontier when I left home. But now I'm here, and somehow I can't stop shivering. What am I going to do if I get beaten to a pulp? You look quite young. I will pull myself together and challenge the Battle Frontier. Maybe. Okay. Head on inside here. What is a lot of balding men here? What's going on? If you've become a bit of a fanatic about battles, I'm the guy who can teach your Pokemon all kinds of moves. May I teach your Pokemon moves in exchange for BP? Ah, yes. Let's see what can be done here. Okay, so this guy actually provides a service. So you remember a lot of the times where I talked about a bunch of different moves that Pokemon can learn by a move tutor, and how I didn't really cover exactly what could be done in that regard? This is the guy. There are different options here. In this case, he is providing the option for us to teach Fury Cutter, Thunder Punch, or Fire Punch to Blazer. I'm not going to do any of this right now, mainly because I don't have nearly enough BP to do it, but even so, that is where you can get some of the moves. Do you all also provide more moves? Let's see. So yes, so he can provide us even more moves for BP. What else can you teach Blazer? Okay, so he can teach Snore and Swift to Blazer. Good to know. And what do you have to teach Blazer? So as far as his moves are concerned, we have Mud Slap, Rollout, Heat Wave, and Low Kick. Heat Wave may be something worth considering for double battle purposes, but not something I really need for today. But yeah, if you've ever wanted to know, like, hey, what the heck was he talking about? It's like, oh, teach Pokemon via TM or move tutors. This is what I was mostly referring to. These guys will teach you great moves for your Pokemon in exchange for BP. Now, how we'll get BP exactly, well, we'll talk about that later. But hey, we haven't even properly accessed the Battle Frontier, and we're already getting access to some great stuff, which is fantastic. Finally, I'm here at the Battle Frontier. But a Pokemon battle on the road doesn't satisfy you any longer, you have to come to the Battle Frontier. Wouldn't you agree? Absolutely, my brother. Hello, just when you least expect it. Oh, it's Cameron again. Well, I suppose it's been a little while, especially for... Well, let's just be honest, it's been a while for all of us. My full squad in front of the Battle Frontier. I'm so proud of everyone. Good, good. We got a nice picture. You can see all the pictures on your PC. Fantastic. And for a relative convenience, there is both a Pokemon Center and a Pokemart available right at the front. I'm not going to cover those in great detail because there really isn't anything new to those specific facilities, but they are here if you want to. I think I will hop in just for a moment, just for the sake of saying that I have been here, and that way I can fly here later on. But enough diddly-daddling. We need to go into the Battle Frontier. This is the Battle Frontier. Come, proud trainers, aim for the top. Let's do it! Welcome to the Battle Frontier. This is your first visit. Right this way, please. Our other staff will be pleased to explain how the individual facilities of the Battle Frontier operate. I can go over general topics. Do you have any questions? I will be going over these in detail once we actually get into the facilities themselves, because there's a lot to talk about with each and every facility, and I think it's best to kind of do it a little more hands-on than her just explaining the basics at the counter. So I'm going to pass on this for now, but if you do want any information provided by the game, she is here and she will explain it to you. We hope you enjoy your visit. Okay, so we have some more people here. Hello. This is the five facilities of the Battle Frontier are Tower, Hall, Castle, Factory, and Arcade. How do you make an acronym out of that? THKFA? Rearrange those letters maybe? Fatch! Chaft! Nope, nothing works. Didn't anyone think of this? I'm not sure, actually. I was thinking for a brief moment. It's like, I can't think of an acronym. Anyway, what do you have to say? My dream is to battle Palmer of the Battle Tower. I want to record it for posterity on my Versus recorder, but I left my Versus recorder at home. I'm heartbroken. Yes, we'll be going over that in specific details, but yes, this is actually one of the very few locations in-game where you can earnestly use your Versus recorder without having to engage in a trainer battle with your friends. So, good to know. The Versus recorder sure nifty. Checking the Frontier record will tell you how much BP you have. Yes, that is another function of the Versus recorder. If you ever want to know how much BP you have exactly and don't feel like going to any one of the exchange services here, you can always check on the Versus recorder. What do you have to say? The Battle Frontier is up ahead. I've explored places all over the world, but nothing compares to the excitement I feel right now. What kinds of trainers will I see? What battles will I experience? It's a whole new adventure for me. Indeed it is. Now let us enter. And welcome to the Battle Frontier. This is the central hub of everything we're going to be doing here today and for the next few episodes, depending on how you're watching this. So, we're going to be talking to some people, and we need to talk to mainly these three people here because they provide some nice things for us. Welcome to the Exchange Service Corner. Would you like to trade in your BP for some prizes? Yes, let's go over what she provides. So she has 4 sets of different training items here. So first of all, if you want to get any of the EB boosting medicines, you can buy those here for 1 BP each. Very cheap and, not all that much. She does also sell rare candies. Technically, there is no limit to how many rare candies you can get from her, but of course, getting 48 BP is not a simple task. So bear that in mind. Let's see, what else does she have? She has these 6 items here. The Power Bracer, Power Belt, Power Lens, Power Band, Power Anklet, and Power Weight. So to go over what these do, just to be quick about this, the Power Bracer rewards 4 attack effort values after battle. The Power Belt rewards 4 defense effort values after battle. The Power Lens rewards 4 special attack effort values after battle. The Power Band rewards 4 special defense effort values after battle. The Power Anklet rewards 4 speed effort values after battle, and the Power Weight rewards 4 HP EBs after battle. It's also worth noting that any one of these items will also have the speed of the user while they're holding it. So this is one of those items where if you're trying to raise a Pokemon to gain certain effort values and you want to prioritize getting those effort values above anything else, then these are definitely the items for you to zero in on the EBs that you want to gain. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend wearing these while you are here because you cannot gain effort values from defeating Pokemon here. This is mainly to help facilitate the process of getting your Pokemon to where you want in terms of their effort values. Okay, next up, what does she have here? Fighting items. So she has various items here, and boy, there's some nice stuff. Okay, so the Toxic Orb for 16 BP. This is a held item that will actually badly poison the user if they are holding it. This is an item that is very useful in the competitive meta if it is used properly. A really good way to use Toxic Orb is to give it to a Pokemon that has the ability Poison Heal, because it'll poison the user, but Poison Heal will actually heal them after every turn instead. The Flame Orb is a similar item to the Toxic Orb, except it burns the holder instead of poisoning them. Again, if you have a Pokemon that can actively benefit from burn, or in some way is able to get around the issue of having your attack halved or taking damage from burn, such as having the ability Magic Guard, this can actually be very useful for that specific purpose. The White Herb, this is an item that we saw Blaine use, if you recall. This costs 32 BP, and if you ever use a move that lowers your stats, for instance, then this will restore those stats. A really good example that Blaine demonstrated was using Overheat and then using the White Herb to restore his stats. Power Herb is similar to the White Herb, but instead of restoring stats, it fully charges a move that would normally take multiple turns to charge. A really good example of using the Power Herb is using it in tandem with Solar Beam to make it so you don't have to charge Solar Beam for one turn. She also sells the Bright Powder. We've seen this item and used it in earnest before. This will lower your opponent's accuracy for whatever Pokemon is holding it. She's also selling the Focus Band item. This prevents you from getting knocked out by a one-hit KO attack. And then the Focus Sash will prevent you from losing all of your HP in one go. Think of it as the item equivalent of the move Endure if you want to factor that in. And then last up, she is selling additional items. She's selling the Choice Band. This is a very useful item if used correctly. This boosts your attack power by 50%, but only allows you to use one move. So if you use this correctly, this can be incredibly helpful. But if not, it can really put you into a very rough corner. The Choice Scarf is just like the Choice Band, except it boosts speed instead of boosting your attack. The Scope Lens that she sells boosts the holder's critical hit ratio. We've seen this on a few occasions before. The Muscle Band we've used plenty of times before. Boosts the power of your physical moves by about 10%. And then most notably, here is where they sell the Razor Claw and the Razor Fang item. Now, in terms of the competitive purposes of these items, yes, they do boost the user's critical hit ratio and increases the odds of causing flinch. But most importantly, these are the items that you need in order to evolve Sneasel and Gligar into their respective Gen 4 evolutions. This is the only location in the entire game where you can get these items. So if you have any plans on using Weavile or Gliscor in this game, this is where you need to go. This is who you need to talk to. But you're going to have to work at it because it's not as simple as just picking one up. You got to get 48 BP, and that's quite a bit. Now, of course, we can't really do anything with these services, well, this service at the immediate moment. So we're going to have to move on for now, but I still wanted to be sure that you were aware of that right now. Next up, I want to talk to you. Welcome to the Exchange Service Corner. What do you have to sell me? Ah, yes. So here she sells some TMs, and boy, let me tell you, she sells some good stuff. Let's go over this. So first of all, she sells 6 different physical attack TMs. She sells Aerial Ace, Brick Break, U-Turn, X-Scissor, Stone Edge, and most especially, Earthquake. Earthquake is not cheap, but it's definitely worth it, and the ability to purchase more than one copy of Earthquake is insanely good. Among the special attack TMs that she sells Shadow Ball, Energy Ball, Sludge Bomb, and Dragon Pulse. All extremely powerful and reliable moves of their respective types. Definitely worth considering getting any one of them. And then as far as her last category of attacks, which are called changing attacks, she sells the TMs for Toxic, Thunder Wave, Will-O-Wisp, Attract, Bulk Up, and Calm Mind. All really useful moves that either inflict status conditions or boost your own stats in their own respective way. Any one of these TMs can be extremely helpful depending on what you're trying to do for your specific strategy. But again, it's really nice that you do have the ability to just buy these as many times as you want. Again, provided you have enough BP. So we've gone over items, we've gone over TMs, and that's all really good. But what do you have? Welcome. Would you like some scratch-off cards? You may buy 3 scratch-off cards for 1 BP. Hidden on each scratch-off card are icons of Pokemon. You may scratch the obscuring film off a card 3 times. If the same icon appears 3 times, you'll win a prize, like a berry. Also, Ditto's icon can transform into any other Pokemon. Good luck matching Pokemon icons. You know what? I do have 1 BP from our previous episode of, well, covering in a separate battle facility, so why not? We'll go ahead and do the 3 scratch-off cards just so I can show this off here. So, let's see. I will go with the blue card. And then I'll go with the green card. And then I'll go for a pink card. Okay. So, right here, we do have some various items that we can get from this. We do need to scratch off 3 of the same Pokemon in order to get anything from this. And this is gambling. This is the one instance of gambling that they actually got away with in this game. And I love this. I love this a lot. All right, we got a Mantike. A Chingling. Nope, too bad. Oh, well, I was dead in the water anyway. There's no way for me to get 3 Chinglings. Okay, I'm going to go bottom right here. Nope. I've already ruined it. Nope. All right, come on. Let's go gambling. Nope, already butchered it. I am not good at gambling, folks, because it requires a great deal of skill. But yeah, if you want to get some Pokemon Scratchers, you definitely can get those. There really isn't any practical purpose unless you just really want the berries from those cards. But here's the thing. Those berries you can get from the cards are all berries that help circumvent weaknesses, which would be relatively helpful and rare if it weren't for the fact that our mother often calls us because she goes to the market and buys those exact same kinds of berries. Now, in Pokemon Platinum version, where this same service is available, this is much more worth your while. But here, not as much. That isn't to say it isn't useful, because boy, those berries are very helpful in these facilities, but it's situational as if it's actually worth your time. But I'll let you decide. But enough dilly-dallying with the services. You want to see me actually cover one of the battle facilities here, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Today, we're going to cover the Battle Tower. Never lose, keep winning. Let's do this. What do you have to say, child? Battle Tower. It's so tall. I wonder how many times my height it is. Very. Welcome properly to the Battle Tower. We have a lot of people in here. Like a lot of people. Let's talk to the people inside. Thank you for playing. Your Pokemon will be restored to full... Oh my, I'm not on duty today. I'm just here to enjoy myself. Yeah, this is one of the only times we actually get to see Nurse Joy just hanging around outside. It's really cool. Teehee, all the trains around us look so pathetic. Actually, that's kind of a mindset that makes you lose with one hit. Don't let your guard down, Pikachu. Let's see, what else? Hey, can you tell me how you feel before a match? How you feel when you win or lose? What would it be like to be number one? What is this? Oh, interesting. So this is something that you can customize before you fight a match. Does this have to do with the multi-battle deal? I will confirm with Editor Griffin later on about this. I was not aware of this specific feature. Anyway, what do you have to say? I trained my little guy until we couldn't take anymore. He's going to do a 50-win streak for sure. Right, Pikachu? What'd you say? Yeah, Pikachu ain't so confident. How do you feel, Pikachu? Well, this Pikachu is confident. You, sir, do you have a service? Yes. You can call me the Judge. It's actually not my real name, but that's what everyone calls me. It's because of this weird power I have. It's a gift, really. I can judge, you can say, the overall potential of individual Pokemon. If you'd like, I could judge the intriguing potential of your Pokemon. Yes, so this specific guy here, he is actually very interesting because this is one of the first cases of them being able to do this. So he can actually judge the individual values of your Pokemon and kind of point out what the best ones are with respect to their layout. It's especially nice because you have no way of checking your Pokemon's individual values in this game. Otherwise, you just kind of have to calculate it with online calculators. So this is nice that it'll at least give you a hint as to how good your individual values are. Let's take a look at Hogan here. I see. This Pokemon has relatively superior potential overall. That's my determination, and it's final. Incidentally, I'd say its best potential lies in its HP. It's fantastic in that regard. That's how I judged it. Interesting. So its best IV is in its HP, but it is good to see that its individual values in general are good. That's going to be very helpful given what we're up against here. You, sir. As you can see, Battle Frontier is a great facility. You know what? Apparently, similar facilities are available outside of Johto. Indeed, they are, but we'll talk about that another day. Me? I just made a debut as an idol. I haven't got much work yet, so whenever I have time, I come here to battle Pokemon. Well, I don't know how to feel about that, frankly. It's like, do you want to focus on your career or not? I've always loved this kind of see-through elevator since I was young. Or not. When I was young, this kind of elevator was unheard of. Okay, well now you're just these people are just lying to me. Unreal. Anyway, now let's talk about the battle tower itself. Let's talk to you. Welcome to the battle tower. I'm your guide to single and double battle rooms. Would you like to take the battle room challenge? Well, before we do that, let's take a minute to talk about how the battle tower works. So first of all, the battle tower is the most relatively straightforward facility in the game. The way it works is you continue to battle with your Pokemon in sets of 7 rounds, with each battle getting more difficult as you move up the ranks. This facility is essentially the kind of battle facility you see in most Pokemon games, even today. There are 4 different battle types in this facility, 3 of which are actually available due to the last one requiring a Nintendo Wi-Fi. There's the single battle mode, which has you do the challenges in a single battle format using only 3 Pokemon. Double battle has you do the challenges in a double battle format using only 4 Pokemon. Multi-battle is similar to double battle, only you would be challenging it with a friend who is linked to you. You would each use 2 Pokemon and do the challenge together. And then there's the Wi-Fi battle room, which is similar to the multi-battle, except that you would be challenging with someone else online. Obviously, in this day and age where Nintendo Wi-Fi is not available, this is off the table, but it is still worth acknowledging. And once you clear enough battles in a row at the battle tower, you get the opportunity to face Palmer, who is the frontier brain of this specific facility. There are actually 2 different battles that you want to try to do against Palmer if you want to fully max out your experience of the battle tower. If you get to 21 battles in a row, you can fight Palmer for the silver symbol. And then if you work your way further up and get to 49 battles, you can fight him again to get the gold symbol. However, unlike all the other battle facilities, there are in fact unique achievements and rewards specifically associated with the battle tower. Because there are ribbons that you can actually earn for the Pokemon that you participate with. And I would like to go over those. So there's the ability ribbon, which you get for defeating the Tower Tycoon in a single battle. The Great Ability ribbon, which is the reward you get for defeating the Tower Tycoon again in a single battle, basically with respect to the first and second challenge that Palmer provides you. There is the Double Ability ribbon, which you get when you win 50 consecutive double battles. The Multi-Ability ribbon, which you get for winning 50 consecutive multi-battles. The Pair Ability ribbon, which is slightly different, where you win 50 consecutive multi-battles over wireless. The World Ability ribbon, which is not possible under the circumstances right now, so we're not going to talk about it. Additionally, you also get a star on your trainer ID, which causes the color to change if you clear 100 matches in a row in the battle tower. It's very difficult to do, and it's debatable as to whether or not it's worth your time, but this is one of the signature achievements of this specific game. So keep that in mind, because it only applies to the battle tower. Now, as you go through this, there are some general tips that I'm going to give you before we actually get started with our run here. So a few things to consider is speed. Having Pokemon with high speed in these battles is going to be helpful to accomplish what you want before they can do anything. This is why I've been stressing the importance of speed during all the bios that we've been covering in this game. Additionally, having high coverage will ensure that you can fight a wider range of opponents without having to switch or compromise. You should not operate under the assumption that your opponent will not have coverage of their own, because especially as you get into the more difficult challenges of each of the battle facilities, the Pokemon that you fight absolutely will have a substantial bit of coverage. It also helps if you try to bring in Pokemon that do not have a lot of weaknesses, so that way your opponent is not able to properly exploit those weaknesses. And also, don't forget, another thing that can be really helpful depending on the circumstances is you using your own moves or abilities to inflict status conditions. Any one of these can be extremely helpful, and it's important to factor all of these in when deciding how you want to proceed with, frankly, any of the battle facilities, not just the battle tower. Now, as far as how we're going to handle doing the battle facilities of the Battle Frontier, here is the reality that we're sitting at right now. The Pokemon that I've been using for this journey are all fantastic, and I hope that you all have been enjoying their on-screen time and the way that they've been able to go through these battles with relative ease. However, just because I was able to use these Pokemon to get through the main story and the post-game does not necessarily mean that they are going to be overall optimal for what we're going to be doing here. Now, that isn't to say that they won't be of any help at all. They certainly can hold their weight, but they're not exactly the most competitively viable Pokemon that I have. As such, I am going to be using them, but one thing I cannot necessarily guarantee for certain is that I'll be able to get to the gold challenges. So, as such, for the purposes of this Let's Play, here's what I'm going to do my best to accomplish. My aim is to do the single battle modes of each specific facility, and at the very least, get to the point where I can challenge each of the Frontier Brains. I cannot guarantee victory, but I will at least do my best to defeat the Frontier Brains at their own game and put my best foot forward into defeating them on their first attempts. If I'm not able to defeat them, it's not the end of the world. It would be nice if I would be able to, but that is all I can promise for certain, is that I will do everything I can to get to the point where I can show their first battle, and then we'll talk about their second battle as well. I won't leave you in the dark about how they operate in this game. So with that said, let's take the Battle Room Challenge. And for this one, we're going to be doing single battles. It is worth pointing out that if you want to actually fight the Frontier Brains, you have to do them in single battles. They don't really have a proper double battle option. The double battle option is just there for you to play around with double battles if you want to. So for the purposes of this specific run here, I'm going to try to operate with Blazer, Rido, and Hogan. And one thing I want to point out about Blazer specifically is that I've given Blazer the Power Herb item. This is so that Blazer is able to use Solar Beam more effectively than before. If it uses Solar Beam, then it won't necessarily need to take a turn to charge its attack. And that way I can get him off nice and easily. But also, the nice thing about using the Power Herb in battle facilities is that the Power Herb will restore itself after every fight, which would normally not happen if you are doing this against normal trainers. So if you ever wanted to use items like the Power Herb, which would normally go away instantly and irreversibly after a single fight, then this is where I recommend using items like this. So with that said, let's take a shot. And I'm not going to show off every single battle here because for me to cover everything, including getting to Palmer, that's 21 battles, and that's a lot. But I will definitely show off all the highlights from my attempts at this. So let's begin. Oh, and yes, you do have to save your game. They're not going to let you be scummy about this. You can't just soft reset and just fight the next trainer over and over until you win. They're pretty quick about that. If you do need to leave after a specific battle, like if you need to take a break, they will let you do that, but they're just going to have you resume straight after. You don't get to just stop your run midway through. It's always weird that they never take me to the first room that pops up. It's very bizarre. I'm facing retirement soon. I was never admired as an idol. Maybe it's because you weren't doing your job! As we established earlier. Oh, yes. It's also worth pointing out that when you go through this specific facility, your levels reset. They are brought down to 50 so that way you're fighting on an even playing ground. So this really is all about the way that you raise your Pokemon and the effort values that they have, and of course the moves that they have. That's what's going to be the deciding factor in this. I'm not going to say that none of the battle facilities matter when it comes to your level, because in others, they absolutely do matter. But here, it's kind of a moot point. Okay, it's worth pointing out that this Happiny was actually kind of difficult to take down. I think that Happiny had something to boost its defense, or it had just a lot of defense effort values, because that took 3 Earthquakes to take down Happiny. I want to point out again that Happiny has 5 defense. Like, I realize that Blazer's strongest suit is not its physical attack. But even so, I hate a track. I hate a track so much, guys. Glameow has infatuated both Hogan and Rido, and it's really annoying. Would have liked to end my career with a win in this match. Well, too bad. It's what you get for not prioritizing your career. Oh, God, not Glameow again. I literally just dealt with a Glameow in the last fight. Are you kidding? This is literally the same team that I just dealt with. It's Glameow and Happiny again. Bro, Happiny used Press It and healed Blazer. Let's go. Oh, and not that I should necessarily have to mention this, but while you're going through these particular battles, you don't get the option to switch out your Pokemon in between. Normally, by default, when you're playing this game, you have the shipped mode enabled, and you can turn that off if you want a slightly harder challenge. But in this particular battle facility, you have the thing set to set, and that cannot be changed. So when you're going through this, you have to fight knowing full well that your opponent is just going to throw out more Pokemon, and you cannot switch out unless you want to take up a turn. It is also worth pointing out that as you go through this battle facility, it'll probably become apparent to you that any conception of, like, what should be in the region is thrown out the window. There are 475 Pokemon that are allowed to be used in this facility, and any one of them is reasonably on the table. There will be certain Pokemon that won't pop up at first just because their stat totals are too high, but once you get past Palmer for the first time, that restriction will eventually be lifted, and those Pokemon will just go away. Oh, you gotta be kidding. I used Protect when I was using my Solar Beam. I even had a thing. Okay. Ooh, aren't you the most darling thing? Can you win a smile from me? That's a good question. So one of the things I actually miss about Gen 3 that they unfortunately got rid of in Gen 4, in the battle facilities in Gen 3, the NPCs that you fought in those battle facilities specifically had some of the most unhinged dialogue. Like, it's literally just random stuff coming out of their mouths. And the best part is that it was all caps for every single word that they said. And I think that is really funny. Because Dunsparce probably has Serene Grace. And of course it misses twice. Why is it doing so much? Oh, critical hit, that's why. Well, I just got embarrassed by Dunsparce. Forget everything I've said before. Dunsparce is God tier, guys. God, Castform is ugly here. You think the fact that it used Rain Dance is going to change anything? It does change it into its cute weather form. Too bad we couldn't go over it properly. Time to die. This is the most bald Spinda I've ever seen in my life. Like, I usually see a little bit of red toward the top of it, but aside from the ear, the Spinda has no red, and it's very perturbing. Wants to go to my home country. Where is your home country? Is it Alola? Oh, yes. So once you complete your 7th battle in any round, you are free to save that also as your battle video. I brought this up earlier. I thought it only applied to the Frontier Brains, but no, it does apply to the 7th battle that you do at the end of any set of 7. I don't necessarily recommend it unless you just had a fantastic run, but obviously against the Battle Frontier Brains, by all means, go ahead and save that video. But yeah, that takes care of my first set of 7, so now I just need to do this a few more times. And as a result of me complete 7, I got 3 BP. And as soon as you complete a set of 7, they automatically save your game. Because again, they really just do not want that progress to be lost. Oh, Balba's calling. Oh, thank God. Oh, hi, Griffin. This is Warden Balba. Sorry to catch you waiting. I thought of a new way to play. Called Object Arrangement. I'll give you further details in Safari Zone. See you there. Okay. Well, we talked about that plenty in the last session, so I will skip that for now. But just know that it is there. This is going to get a little harder than before. But again, the earlier stages are not too bad. It's not really until you get to Palmer and past him where it becomes obscenely difficult. Every time that I need Focus Blast to hit... Come on! Using Geodude in a battle facility? Okay, very bizarre. I know we're still in the early stages, but still. Now my loss to Onyx earlier kind of feels all the more embarrassing. So it is worth pointing out, in case you did not notice, if you look at the bottom screen of my recording here, you'll notice that the UI is also slightly different than usual. That's because normally You just have kind of the generic deal. But here, you actually see the symbol for the Battle Frontier in the UI of the screen. And why do I keep getting hit by critical hits? Do y'all have the scope lens equipped? Seriously, bro. Every time I've gotten hit, it's been critical hits. Better to be holed up in the mountains than in a room, I say. Listen, buddy. Pokemon are inching up ever so slightly in their difficulty. Last battle, we saw Geodude, and now we're seeing a Tang. Still not a potent threat, but it's definitely something more noteworthy than before. Seadra is also not half bad, but I also have Solar Beam with Power Herb, so you perish now. Oh no, it used Leer on me. However, will I continue my run now? Oh god, the media! His name is Amleth. God, we are really going back to just god-awful names again. It's like, if it ain't XD, it's this game. Or at least the facilities here. Seriously, someone was christened into the world, someone looked at this infant baby and was like, Amleth. Like, what is that? Okay, well, at least this Spinda looks a little bit more reasonable because it has a little more red toward the top of its body. It's still kind of balding on the left side, but, you know, I'll take what I can get. Spinda's design is totally random, so the idea that you would even get a good designed Spinda is not a given. Thank you. What? Flamethrower missed? Focus Blast landed, but Flamethrower didn't land? Oh, that Lily must have a Bright Powder equipped. That's the only way it could have avoided that. Yeah, do bear in mind, like, your opposing Pokemon can absolutely have items equipped. Like, you're not the only one who has items equipped, I assure you. And I also assure you that if there is any chance that you will get hit by a critical hit, it will happen. Jesus Christ. Oh god, it's a big cookie. Well, you may have the cookie, but I have the cake, my guy. You know what? That made sense in my head, but the problem is in this modern colloquial meaning, that probably does not bear well for Blazer, unfortunately. Even if I am correct. It's interesting that at this stage, Raticate would have Pursuit. Like, it's not that good of a move, but given the current environment that we're in, it is actually a decent move to use, all things considered. Just not when you're facing Eradicate. Ooh, boy. Yeah, we are definitely amping up here in the difficulty. This is the 7th battle of our 2nd run, and already opening up with a Cloyster. And again, not that we haven't dealt with Cloyster before, you know, we know how to deal with Pokemon like this. But it's definitely not the Hapinis that we were facing early on. Like, we're definitely moving up. And that does not bode well as far as getting to the 3rd segment here. Oh, good. Broccoli got paralyzed as well from static. It's exactly what I needed in life. Although it probably doesn't matter because Broccoli is actually, like, really fast. It also doesn't matter because Ryder got a critical hit. Let's go. I seem to have forgotten. Yes, he wanted to tell me a story of his youth. Okay, so that was the 14th match, despite the fact it says 7. So that's another 3 BP for me. Okay, so for this 3rd attempt, since this is the one that we really need to kind of buckle down for, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have Blazer enter. And for this run, I'm going to have Mizumori and Hogan enter. Mizumori is going to be a lot more helpful against what is coming up than Raido is. Not to say that Raido wouldn't be helpful hypothetically, but Mizumori is just going to be more likely than not more helpful. Another thing to really kind of factor in here, like, not that you really have any control over what you fight necessarily, at least as far as like the difficulty is concerned, but it is at least worth acknowledging that while you are going through this facility, the trainer class that you are facing against does not matter. It has absolutely no bearing on what Pokemon they are going to have. I'm not going to say that their teams are random because obviously there is some degree of incrementing difficulty to all the battle facilities. but the trainer class itself is really a non-contributing factor. They either have good Pokemon or they don't. They either have the team that will beat yours or they don't. That really is all that there is to it. This is literally the same guy from before. Gentleman Gilliam, once again, wants to tell us a tale from his youth. I'm noticing a pattern here of them wanting to use water types against Blazer because we've been seeing them open with a lot. So there is a degree of effort that they're putting into countering Blazer. But fortunately, Blazer does have Solar Beam, so it's not like we're out of options. My only genuine concern is that Lubinion, despite being a hot trash water type that wasn't even worth talking about in this game, kind of got the best of Blazer for the most part. Admittedly. Fortunately, even though Mizumori is obviously lower level than before, Mizumori still has really good stats, and I'm pretty sure it does have good individual values. Not to mention, even at level 50, it has 207 HP. So we got good defenses, we got good HP, we got good offensive with Mizumori. So I'm not too worried. And once again, he has forgotten his story. It is such a shame. Gentleman Gilliam will never be able to tell us the story of his youth. He always wants to tell it to us, but we'll never know. That's actually a problem. We don't have any way to counter. Why am I getting hit with critical hits all the time? The frequency that I get hit by criticals is absurd. Oh, thank God for Quick Claw. Yes, I gave Mizumori the Quick Claw in situations like this, because having the Quick Claw to change Mizumori into a potential sweeper is huge in this facility. Okay, Zangoose, Focus Blast is probably not gonna... Wow! Focus Blast actually landed! Despite my accuracy being reduced twice! Blazer is coming through today. Critical hit again. Again! What is with you people? And using critical hits. Also, Golba has a Black Sludge, which is a good item to consider giving to any poison type, frankly. Okay, we just need to defeat this trainer here, and that will enable us to fight the Frontier Brain, if I've done everything correctly. But yeah, you kind of notice that, like, these battles are getting harder. Like, they're getting noticeably harder. Again, we're not seeing, like, top-tier stuff. Like, we're definitely still a few inches out from really hitting the extreme difficulty of the Battle Frontier that it's known for. But we're getting close to that point. It's one of those things where it's like, once you get used to each of, like, the Pokemon's strengths, you kind of figure out how to best approach things, and you kind of know what to expect. Like, I know that Primeape is going to go for Karate Chop here because it's faster. Or Cross Chop, that works too. It's actually a big problem because I still don't have a good way of dealing with Primeape. Hogan, I need you to really lock in right now. Oh, Hogan, I never like to doubt you. And I never will again. Oh, Hogan, you're so good. Okay, there we go. That should take care of it. Your Pokemon will restore to full health. Congratulations on your winning streak, Challenger. The Frontier Brain has sent word that he is impressed with you. He sees your skill and he'd like to challenge you to a battle. Are you ready to battle the Tower Tycoon? Absolutely. But before we do that, I want to actually talk about the UI here real quick before we press on. So, if you want to take a look at your current record to see how you're doing, you check that. If you want to just take a quick break, you just want to like leave, turn off the game, and kind of go do whatever, you can hit rest. If you want to quit, you hit retire. But I don't want to do that. I want to keep going and fight the Tower Tycoon, baby. There he is. Hi, my name's Palmer. I heard a lot about you. You're a Griffin from New Barktown, right? You are much younger than I thought. So, I'd like you to show me. Show me the bond you've built with your Pokemon. Show me what you've learned through battles with trainers. Let's go! You are challenged by Tower Tycoon Palmer. Listen to this music. He's going to be starting off with Dragonite, level 50, and that's actually really bad. I was not expecting him to start off with that. So let's talk about Palmer before I get absolutely trashed. First of all, this music slaps. This is easily one of the best battle themes in any Pokemon game, and I will die on this hill. But what's curious about Palmer specifically is that he can actually be fought in both Diamond and Pearl, as well as their remakes, despite regrettably not including the Battle Frontier. But in those games, they don't use this music. They actually use Cynthia's battle theme. Now, as for his Dragonite here, his Dragonite is level 50, Inner Focus for the ability, holding a Lumberry, with the moves Dragon Claw, Aerial Ace, Thunder Wave, and Dragon Dance. Moreover, its nature is adamant, and it has 252 effort values in both its attack and its special offense. Why am I bringing that up? Well, because effort values are such a critical factor that it would be a fool's errand for me to completely overlook that. So, with that said, I'm going to switch out to Mizumori and bring her out, and hopefully I don't get completely destroyed by this. Like I said, I cannot guarantee victory against Palmer, but I at least wanted to be certain that I did take some time to cover my basics here. Oh my god, thank you, Mizumori. Now, unfortunately, Dragonite is maxed out in its special defense, so I cannot guarantee a win here. Oh my god, Mizumori! You are coming through! Next up, Rhyperior is out. This Rhyperior is level 50, is holding a focus band, is a ground rock type, with the moves Rock Wrecker, Earthquake, Crunch, and Roar. Also has the adamant nature and has 252 attack and defense effort value, so keep that in mind. This is definitely, I wouldn't say Palmer's signature Pokemon. This is actually one of the only Pokemon I've ever seen him use in the anime. Oh, and yeah, let's talk about Palmer as a character for a second, because he actually has, like, the most interesting lore. Palmer is canonically from the Sinnoh region and is considered the father of Barry, who is the rival to the player character in the Sinnoh games. In fact, Palmer is actually the only known Gen 4 Frontier Brain to have a known hometown, appear in a movie. In fact, he actually has appeared in 2 of them. He's actually properly appeared in the animated series. Well, he's sort of the only one, but we'll work that detail a little bit later. And he's the only Frontier Brain to have not been defeated by the character in the manga known as Platinum. He's literally the top dog when it comes to the Battle Frontier. Anyway, that takes care of Rhyperior. Next up, he's sending up Milotic. This is the strongest Pokemon. Well, last Pokemon, I should say. I shouldn't say strongest. Milotic, level 50. I believe Marble Scale for the ability, holding a Shell Bell with the moves Surf, Ice Beam, Attract, and Hypnosis. It is modest nature, has 252 HP and 252 special attack effort values. So its offenses are where it really shines best. Now, I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to be able to get off a Solar Beam successfully because Milotic is definitely going to take out Blazer more likely than not. So I'm going to go for Focus Blast and just try to maximize on my damage. Now, weirdly enough, when it comes to these specific games, Milotic, for some reason, with Palmer, they intentionally removed any and all dialogue that had Palmer mention his son. Now, weirdly enough, for some reason in the Johto game specifically, anything that I just mentioned about Palmer as far as like his hometown and all that, this is actually the games where they removed any and all dialogue that concerns that. They really did not want to establish any proper lore when it came to Palmer, and I don't understand why. Anyway, his design is also extremely interesting. First of all, it's worth pointing out that his outfit has a symbol on the back, which is the kanji for the word king. He knows what he is about. His design is also meant to be based on a dwarf sugar palm tree, not just because of the green coat and the English name. Of course, it's a critical hit every time! Sorry. His Japanese name is Kurotsugu, which is straight up the word for dwarf sugar palm tree. Ah, wonderful. That was fantastic. Do come again. Notice that his sprite is animated. No, I don't want to save that as my battle video. It's bad enough that's going to be my official run for this Let's Play. Well, we're off to a horrible start here. Oh, what do you have to say, lady? Do you have anything to say to help me cope with my loss? Oh, right. When you get a 20-win streak achievement, you get a trophy sent to your home. That's great. That's exactly what I needed. Okay, so before we move on, I do want to point this out because it is important that I do bring it up. I did bring it up earlier, but I was very frustrated. So, if you defeat him, or in my case, if you lose to Palmer, his sprite is actually animated. Now, this may not sound like a big deal. And in modern games, it definitely isn't. But here's the thing. He's the only trainer in all of Gen 4 to specifically be animated after the battle. Nobody else does this. So it is very weird that Palmer behaves like this, but that is the situation with Palmer. He just straight up is more animated than every trainer in this entire game. But evidently, that is going to be it for my run of the Battle Tower. It is unfortunate that we did not get the silver symbol, but I don't have infinite time, and I don't have a lot of time to just keep doing these facilities over and over and over again until I get all the symbols. Like I said, I only promised that I would fight the Frontier Brains. I did not promise that I would win. So anyway, the next battle facility that we are going to be covering today is the Battle Factory, win consecutively with rental Pokemon. Let's head on in. I love the way they transition into the side builds like this. Welcome to the Battle Factory. Let's talk to some more randos. The staff tell you about the next trainer you'll face. They're very helpful here, don't you think? Interesting. They tell you about the next trainer you'll face? That's really nice. You know, you can prepare for it once you know what kind of trainer the next one is. Yes, we'll be going into more specifics on what exactly they mean by that in a moment, but let's be sure that we're taught to everyone, see what they all have to say. This is a place to battle with rental Pokemon, right? It's a good chance to try Pokemon you've never trained. You'll learn about new Pokemon while having exciting battles. What more could you want? That's a pretty good deal. It'll help you choose a Pokemon when you remember what kind of Pokemon the other trainer had and what moves they used. Interesting. Do you have a lot of Pokemon? I'm not too proud to say this, but I have only a few. But there is nothing to worry about. You know why? This facility, the Battle Factory, has you use rental Pokemon for battles. Okay, so a lot of rental Pokemon talk here. So you have to battle with Pokemon you just met instead of with your own cherished Pokemon you've always battled with? Oh, I don't know if I could. Will they be nice to me? I'm a little worried. I wouldn't worry too much about that. The Pokemon here are optimal. All the trainers gathered at the Battle Frontier are nice, pleasant people. I'm patrolling here on duty, but otherwise I would love to change my uniform to participate. Well, good for you, officer, for being due diligent anyway. Anyway, let's talk about the Battle Factory before we get into anything. So, the Battle Factory is probably the easiest facility to ease your ways into. Unlike all the other battle facilities, this facility, as the NPCs indicated, does not allow you to use any of your own Pokemon. Instead, you use rental Pokemon. You start with either 3 or 4 rental Pokemon, depending on the battle type that you decide to go with, and you get to swap out one of your current Pokemon with one that your opponent used after you defeat them. This is less of a test to see how you raised your Pokemon, and more of a straightforward test on your understanding of types, moves, and abilities. In this facility, there are 3 types of battle modes: single battle mode, double battle mode, and multi-battle mode. They pretty much function in the exact same ways that the Battle Tower did. Before each fight you participate in, the staff member will drop hints about your upcoming opponent. These hints become more vague as you progress further in and complete more rounds of 7, and actually change depending on which battle type you're playing. For example, if you're working with the single battle mode, which is what we're going to be working with today, in the first round of 7, they will tell you the names of all 3 Pokemon you are about to face before you fight them. In the second round, you will only receive the names of 2 of the 3 Pokemon. In the third round, you will only get the name of one of the Pokemon that your opponent will use. I believe the lead Pokemon's name in this case. But in exchange, you'll also get to know one of that Pokemon's moves. In the fourth round of 7, you will learn one of the lead Pokemon's moves, but not the name of any of the Pokemon on your opponent's team. And then once you get to the 5th round and onward, you will only be told the most common type on the team of the 3 Pokemon. And if no 2 types are the same, you're told that there's no preferred type. It definitely is a facility that definitely gets harder with the hints, and will definitely become more difficult with all the Pokemon that you end up facing. But in exchange, all the Pokemon that you end up using become better. Now, if you're working with double or multi-battle mode, the hints are slightly different. So in the first round of 7, you will receive the names of all 4 Pokemon that you're facing. In the second round of 7, you'll receive the names of the first 2 Pokemon. In the third round of 7, you'll actually receive the names of the first 2 Pokemon and 1 move that each of them knows, so it's actually slightly more information. In the 4th round of 7, you'll be told a single move known by 1 of the first 2 Pokemon in the opposing team, but none of the Pokemon's names. And then the 5th round of 7 onward, you'll be told the most common type on the team of the 4 Pokemon. If it's a tie between 2 types, you'll be told 1 of the types. If no 2 types are the same, you're told that there is no preferred type. And much like the Battle Tower, with the Battle Factory, there are some hints that I do highly recommend that you act on. First of all, this is a big one. Be sure to swap out Pokemon after every round. I know it seems a little counterintuitive to not rely on the same 3 Pokemon, but here's the thing. The more often you do, the better Pokemon that you will ultimately get access to during the start of the next round. So by swapping constantly, you get access to much better stuff in the long run. It's also generally recommended that you choose Pokemon with a variety of attack moves. Stats are definitely a contributing factor, but having a bit of coverage is going to be essential here, especially when you don't have the ability to apply coverage yourself ahead of time. It's definitely important to have a good mix of Pokemon that can take hits well and also dish them out. If you're working with a Total Glass Cannon, it can be problematic if you are facing a much bigger threat. It's also recommended that among the Pokemon you get is that you get a Pokemon with good support moves. Having an all-out offensive ensemble is definitely helpful in a specific regard, but having 1 Pokemon to help set up the rest of your team or just be able to heal them can be very helpful. So I definitely recommend having a good mix of both offensive prowess, defensive prowess, and supporting prowess. And much like the Battle Tower, with the first few rounds of 7, the Pokemon that you're going to be working with here are relatively average. You are ultimately going to get better Pokemon the more you swap, but it's going to be relatively lowish when it comes to the base stat totals of the Pokemon that you are working with at first. But once you clear the Battle Frontier brain of this facility once, you will see access to more better Pokemon that you will be able to work with. That said, I'm not going to talk about the Frontier Brain itself until we actually get there, because there's a little bit more we need to talk about when it comes to Thornton. But don't worry, I will do my best to get to him. So, with that said, now that I've kind of more or less explained how the Battle Factory works, let's go ahead and get started. As always, I am going to be doing this on the single battle mode because that is the only way to actually fight the Frontier Brain. I guess I should also point out that when it comes to the levels, you actually have 2 different options when it comes to the levels. So you have level 50 mode and open level mode. This level mode does not particularly matter. It basically only means either you're going to be working with Pokemon that are level 50 or Pokemon that are level 100. So it doesn't particularly matter, but just for the sake of keeping things more or less consistent, I'm going to go with the level 50 mode and see what that does for me. Again, it really does not affect the difficulty one way or the other. All right, let's get started. Right this way, please. And while I am going to be mostly cutting a lot of this process out for y'all's relative convenience, I'm still going to kind of show the process of how to get rental Pokemon, how to swap things out, and the overall process of getting information about our opponent. So let's see here. I've done a bit of research into your next opponent. You can expect to see Nidorina, Duskull, and Corsola. First, we will hold your Pokemon in exchange for you renting our Pokemon. May I suggest choosing Pokemon after appropriate deliberation? Okay, so let's see what we're working with. So we have Slowpoke, Azumarill, Lileep, Castform, Snubbull, and Drowsy. So yeah, while we don't, again, like our Pokemon that our opponent uses aren't great, but neither is our stuff. So let me take a look here. It is always important to be sure to actually take a look and see what you're working with here. Okay, so this Azumarill has thick fat, not huge power. That's not ideal. Okay, I think all things considered, I'm going to go with Snubbull. I'm going to have Lileep in the party, and I'm also going to, Yeah, I'm going to have a Azumarill in there as well. Azumarill's not the best option, but again, we're working with random Pokemon, and the more we swap, the better stuff we'll get. So we'll go with these 3 Pokemon here. Please go in. Have a nice, cool looking battle facility. I love that the floor kind of lights up as a hologram before you do anything. Use it today, aim for the world. How's that for deep? Yeah, we have this really cool battle transition for this guy. So again, we know everything that they're going to be working with, but again, we don't really have a lot of options. I probably should have used a psychic type if I'm being frank here. Okay. Nier is out. Duskull is in. Fortunately, Duskull is not particularly great right now. It doesn't have a lot of HP, so I should be okay. But as I kind of talked about before, Duskull mostly is a debilitating Pokemon. So if you want to use a good debilitating Pokemon, Duskull would be great for this facility. Of course, Dusclops would be more ideal. God bless. Azumarill is pulling through here. I'm not going to use Azumarill in the long run. Azumarill's probably finished, but... yeah, Azumarill's fun. That's okay, though. Azumarill actually, went very hard. Okay, and there we go. After a long, hard battle between 2 defensive walls, we finally got it. Also, this guy wants to take on the world now. Dude, I defeat your course with a Lily. Nothing to be too proud of now. Okay, so now we're going to continue on. So our next opponent is going to have a Cranidos, a Cyndaquil, and a Ponyta. So I do want to trade a Pokemon here. Because like I said, it's always important. So as much as I don't want to keep Azumarill in, our next opponent is going to be using some pretty impressive stuff. So I'm gonna trade Snubbull away because Snubbull was not really of any help here. So we're going to exchange Snubbull. And yeah, I'm gonna have Nidorina come in for this one. Again, I highly recommend swapping after every round. Even if you are happy with the team that you are currently working with, you're ultimately going to get better stuff if you do this. So trust me, it's going to be worth it. All right, Smoochum is a literal child. Also, it warned you about Psybeam and not Water Pulse? Yes, in terms of base power, better, but also, Jesus. Okay, Rain's over. Okay, this is definitely a huge risk, but it's a calculated one regardless. All right, we need to get that Confuse Ray off, and then we need to plant our roots, and then we'll hit it with Ancient Power. Oh boy, that's a problem, but it's just Icy Wind. Certainly, Lily can take a couple of those. What the? Oh no. Oh no. Now Lilip is confused. Come on, Lilip. No. Fortunately, the damage that Lilip takes when it is confused is less than the damage it deals when it's... What the heck are you doing? Smoochum tried to use Fake Out just now. We are way past the point where you can use that. That's got to be used turn 1, my guy. That is not something that you use turn 7. Okay, confusion could be a problem, evidently. Come on, Lily. Come on, Lily. Nope, it's over. It's actually over. Alright, Baltoy, it is all up to you. If you can't do this, the run's over, and then the video is over. No! Am I gonna get destroyed by a literal infant? Baltoy, come on! What do you mean it missed? Ancient Power? What is Ancient Power's accuracy? Are you seriously telling me that Smoochum is like a bright powder? Oh my god! Oh my god! I lost to Smoochum! This video's over. This video's absolute garbage. Okay, fine. I'll just do the whole thing over. Everything I did does not matter. No, I do not want to save the battle video. It's bad enough I have it on recording it. I lost to Smoochum. This video's over. Like, comment, and subscribe. All right, well, I got to do that all again and more. So, see y'all later. There's Turtwig. Turtwig is actually the Sinnoh grass starter Pokemon. We didn't really talk about it in this game because there's no legitimate way to obtain it. And evidently, it's not worth talking about because it did not get to do anything. Let's go Coughing. And I'm actually going to give Turtwig a fair shot. I think that's going to balance things out a little bit better with my team. Hopefully, Turtwig will get to do something. Because, again, we didn't see any of what Turtwig could do before. But that does not mean Turtwig cannot be helpful. Turtwig is Tickle? Why does Turtwig have Tickle of all things? And, of course, Seitu. Why? I mean, I know why, but come on! Stop with the sand attacks! Turtwig, just land one Razor Leaf! Okay, Smooch. Smoochum, Murkrow, Weasel, of course. If I lose to Smoochum again, like in this battle, I'm actually doing the open level mode because this is ridiculous. I should not be losing to Smoochum of all things. Like, it's just embarrassing. Please, Coughing. Please, Coughing! Please, Coughing! Too late. Way too late. Oh, I hate Smoochum. I do not like you. Come on. Okay, thank God. Let's go Coughing. Honestly, this Coughing has been putting in the work. Like, it's not the best thing ever. Like, obviously there are better Pokemon than Coughing of all things, but for what we're doing here, it's pretty nice. I think Coughing, however, is done because, like, oh, they did pursue because they probably thought I was going to switch Coughing out. Not likely, Buster Brown. And we're going to take that motherhead and smooch him for ourselves. Now we get the power. All right, Fake Out. Go. See, that is how Fake Out is supposed to be used to smooch him. We will accomplish great things together. And by that, I mean I'm going to put you away because you are weak to fire. So here's a neat little thing to kind of factor in when working with a Pokemon that is Fake Out. You can do it again every time it swaps out. Begrudgingly, I'm going to switch Coughing out because Ponyta proved to be very effective before, and I'm going to operate under that assumption again. Again, short run, it does seem foolish to swap if you don't need to, but in the long run, this will pay off immensely. I just have to actually make it to the long run. All right, Staryu is out. That could be... that may be a good Pokemon to swap out with Goldeen after this round. Oh, that's a very good Pokemon to swap with Goldeen. There's Bubble Beam and Twister of all things. So in the case of Wobbuffet, I'm going to let it take damage from Bird. I'm going to set up Tail Whips because Wobbuffet can't attack me in this situation. His Charm? All right, its defense cannot go any lower. But you know what? That's all right. Because we got the Bird, baby. We took it out with the Bird. Just stalled. The only annoying thing is that you can't do like a proper summary of what you're about to trade before you receive it. You have to basically just acknowledge what it is, like based on what you see it do in battle. That's with the burn. Okay, that was a critical hit. I was like, there's no way. But yeah, I got Ponyta, Bonsly, and Staryu, so we should be able to take care of this. I do want to acknowledge, however, like their team actually has like good Pokemon, like really good stuff, all things considered. Like, Mothim is obviously hot trash, but its base stats are, like, notably higher. All right, I can't burn Charmeleon, so I'm gonna just stomp it. Try to get off the flinches. Oh, let's go! We got the flinch! You're gonna get a pony to a sweep here? Oh, yeah, flinch combo. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Low kick. Let's go, let's go. Bonds live, all things coming through. All right, 7 down after a whole miserable failed first attempt. As a result of this, we get 5 BP. That's another nice thing about the Battle Factory is that you actually get more BP from your victories than the Battle Tower itself. Because you're having to really demonstrate your mastery of Pokemon. They reward you a little bit nicer. So if you're trying to grind BP, this is definitely a good place to do that. But since we are still not done, I still have to do 14 more fights. But hopefully now that I've done a swap after each round, we'll be able to kind of really see the benefits of my my strategy here. Hopefully we'll get some nicer Pokemon to start off with. Not that we didn't make it work. But yeah, I need to keep going. And I just gotta push through. All right, so we've done a bit of research into my next opponent. So as I pointed out earlier, now we're only being told about 2 Pokemon, Weeping Bell and Shuppet. So we know what's coming up mostly, but we have no idea what the third Pokemon's gonna be. So let's take a look and see what we have now. Yeah, that's a lot better. That is a lot better. It's way better. My God. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. That is much better. See? It pays to know what you're working with. I'm going to bring in Xatu because Weeping Bell's going to be first. I'm going to have Gorbis in because Gorbis has got a fantastic moveset. I'm going to bring in Luxio for this one. It's got Intimidate, but moreover, it has Bite. And it does give me some good coverage. So yeah, I think that this should work. This should work nicely. Now, the only problem with this situation is that I do have to swap things out again if I want to get even better Pokemon in the next round. But as you can already see, we're working with better stuff. All right, I'm going to set up a Tailwind. Setting up a Tailwind is a very useful move. Like, honestly, like, unless Xatu just proves to be hot trash, I will probably keep Xatu in indefinitely just because setting up Tailwind is so instrumental to keeping my team working in the long run. Plus it is Pluck, and which is really good in a battle facility like this because a lot of my opposing Pokemon will have berries. And so if they have stuff like citrus berries, that's going to be really helpful just in terms of getting that taken care of. Growl? You get a free shot, Shingling. Yeah, this Xatu is going to put in work. See, when Xatu actually has good moves, it's genuinely great. But getting that point's hard. Howdy, let's keep it clean, fair, refreshing, and pleasant. I refuse to do any of that. Man, that Tailwind does not last long. I guess in Gen 4, Tailwind just doesn't last as long. Because like usually it lasts for like a handful of turns. Yeah, Graveler's going to be a good counter for Luxio. And again, Graveler having Stealth Rock is huge. And again, even if you don't want to swap, you definitely should, because as I've showed you, you get really good stuff. Like, you do struggle a lot early on, but the payoff is so worth it. Yo, honestly, this Xatu has been so instrumental. It has been so good. Worst case scenario, we have Gorbis, and Gorbis has a great moveset, so we should be okay. I would love Graveler. Yep, there we go. Magnitude 8, baby! Can you ride a bike? It's healthy and a lot of fun. I actually can't ride a bike. Well, it's like, I can ride a bike, but I have to get like a very like specific kind of bike because like, there's just a certain amount that your back is not supposed to bend. And unfortunately with a lot of conventional bikes, I have to like really bend. I'm gonna swap it out for Sudowoodo so that way we keep kind of the same type orientation, but just not the same Pokemon. Again, I know it hurts to swap things out, especially when they did so well. But you gotta remember, they're not your Pokemon, And in the long run, this is going to pay off in dividends, even more than this round has. Always tricky here. Because I'm either have 2 flying types, 2 water types, or 2 psychic types. So there's no way around this. But I think Girafarig is a good kind of neutral position, so I will have Girafarig here. Oh, no. That's what? Okay. The critical hit, of course. Critical hits are going to be the death of me. Not of me, not of the run. Like, it's going to end my life. This Let's Play will end because of a critical hit. I swear Ice Beam is going to be best against Pachirisu, all things considered. Oh, we got it frozen! Oh, let's go! Gorbis! Putting in the work! Yeah, I knew picking this Gorbis would be great. Surf, Psychic, and Ice Beam. What more would you want on a Gorbis? Honestly, none of these options are particularly great. I'm going to have Pachirisu in just for the coverage against Doduo, but this is definitely not sticking around. I'll probably switch, depending on what they use next, I'll probably end up using Doduo in the next one, but we'll see. All right, Doduo can be a problem, but Xatu does have Zen Headbutt. If we can get off some good flinches with that, it can be good. Or we can just one-shot it. That works too. This Xatu, man, see, this is what I mean. Xatu is actually really good when you actually have moves on it. It's just a problem getting them. It's so good. It's a shame I'm probably not going to be able to use Xatu in the next set. All right, Daddy, Mommy, can you hear me? Please watch over me. You good, my guy? Surf, go. The only problem is that Dusclops really is very defensive. Like, it is a defensive beast. So. Also, it really should be, like, telling that despite how much, how much damage I dealt to Dusclops, the shovel only restored, like, 10 HP. Fortunately, Cloyster's special defense is not anything to write home about, so that should be okay as long as we can get off the Psychic successfully. Cloyster definitely doesn't have anything good for Gorbis. Well, probably not. Yeah, we're good. Okay, that is 14. I just need to do one more set. Oh, Daddy, Mommy, I couldn't win. Please don't talk about your parents in this scenario. So that's good. Like I said, I don't need to save like the footage of any of the battles because I already am saving it. And 5 BP, another 5 BP. That is very nice. All right, one more round, hopefully. I don't have an infinite amount of time, so I really need to like just absolutely kill it this round. Okay. First out will be a tough frustration using Furret. So yes, so now we're at the point where they're only going to be telling us the first Pokemon and one of the moves they use. So it's a Furret with frustration. So let's see what we're working with this time. Oh, baby! Oh, baby! We got Tyranitar! Yeah! I'm going to be using Tyranitar. Absolutely. I'm going to go with Tyranitar, Kadabra, because Kadabra probably has Magic Guard. And I'm going to have Ninjask last just for additional coverage. Can't believe we opened with Tyranitar. That's so good! Yeah, see, this is why you swap every time. Because when you do, you get really good stuff. God, it's the same daddy mommy guy again. Now we're in the driver's seat. What do we got here? Rock Slide, Payback, Avalanche, and Curse. Okay, not the best move set for a Tyranitar, all things considered. But I do have Rock Slide. I do have a good Dark Stab move. And I do have Avalanche, which is going to be good for making up for Tyranitar's lacking in speed. So that should be fine. Ooh, it is Monkey. Monkey might have a good counter. Rock Slide? Okay. There may be something to consider, though. Monferno with Rock Slide Monkey may be a good option, all things considered. Use Sludge Bomb of all things. That's not going to do much. Because Tyranitar's special defense gets a 50% boost in the sandstorm that never ends. So special attacks are not going to do to this thing. Yeah, baby. Tyranitar is king of the ring. I can't believe we got it. I think I'll put some Flora in for now, just to give my team a little bit more balanced coverage. Oh, right. Oh, Mothim. That's actually bad. That's actually really bad. The nice thing to remember about Kadabra is that even though Kadabra is not fully evolved, it is still a Pokemon with ridiculously high special attack. Uh-oh. Psychic? Kadabra does have some good options. Psychic Shadow Ball, but some Flora also is like very helpful. So I'm going to switch out Kadabra. I'm going to try to use Grass Whistle on Swellow, but Swellow... Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Swellow is actually really good. Cross Chop using Primate. Okay, well, that makes that decision quite easy. Like, I would much rather use Swellow, because Swellow, like, again, Mothim does have good moves. I'm not discrediting the fact that Mothim doesn't have good moves. Like, it does. I'm not saying it doesn't have good moves, but Mothim also sucks. There is no way that Swellow is slower than Primate. Not a chance. Yeah, Pluck is all that the Swellow has going for it. That's okay. Because it's still... I actually stole the Cherry Berry. Pluck actually came through for once. Let's go. Please. There's a reason I'm intentionally... Yes, actually. That is actually good. I know that may not seem like a good thing, but I promise you, Swellow being burned is actually a great thing. If it manages to survive, that is, which it will not because of burn and the sandstorm. Oh my god. Come on! Tyranitar, please! Tyranitar, just one rock slide! Thank you. Oh my god. Okay. That was too close. That was way too close. Yeah, I think this will give me some good type coverage. Magmar definitely has some good options with its setup, so I think we should be okay. If Swellow had a better moveset than Pluck, then I would definitely consider it more, considering that it's guts for the ability. But as it currently is, it just isn't quite where I need it to be. So it is a risk having Pelipper out here with Tyranitar being at the front, because it definitely is going to use Water Pulse. But again, even though Tyranitar is weak to water type attacks, it has 150 special defense ostensibly thanks to the boon it gets from Sandstorms. So it should be okay. I'm going to put Pelipper in just so we have a good kind of like type balance situation. Pelipper is not great, and I may end up ultimately switching it out with that Carnivine, but it obviously depends on what comes next. We just need to get through this fight, and then we can fight the Frontier Brain. Okay, so Tyranitar is... I don't know. I would like to think that Tyranitar is faster, but then again, it is Tyranitar. Tyranitar is not known for his speed, and that's fine. I know I recommend speed as like a huge precedent above anything, but Tyranitar's defenses are just so good that it really does just make up for that difference, especially with the boon it gets from Sandstorms boosting its special defense. Bro, you had such a good opportunity to attack twice now. But there we go. I berate myself for my own lack of care. All right, there we go. We've done it. I've made it to the end. Congratulations to you, trainer. In recognition of your outstanding winning streak, our Frontier Brain is demanding a match with you. This took me almost 2 hours, by the way. So your next match is against a Thatcher Head with no right of refusal. Are you prepared? Next up, battle number 7. Are you ready? Yes. Done a bit of research into your next opponent. First off will be a tough Rock Slide using Rampardos. Your light trade Pokemon before your battle? Okay, you know what? Given what we are seeing here, I am actually going to swap out Pelipper for Carnivine. It has got to have some sort of a grass type move, which can be helpful. Please go in. All right, here we go, baby. It's time to see the Battle Frontier Head. Wait, where'd he go? Weep! Sorry, don't mind me. What I'm using is an invention of mine. It's my data interpreting machine. It's telling me that you've rented for this match. I see, you've rented Tyranitar, Magmar, and Carnivine. I have to say, that's a good setup. I'd say like 21%? Uh-oh. Oh, don't let that number concern you. Alrighty, let's get going. Alright, time to fight Factory Head Thornton. We are challenged by Factory Head Thornton. He's going to be starting off with Rampardos, level 50. And that's all I can really say for certain. I know it does have Rock Slide because of the hit that we got earlier. So here's the thing to note about this. So when it comes to Thornton, unlike the vast majority of Battle Frontier brains, it is impossible to know what his team will be. The only thing I can really say for certain is that it's a team that will be a relatively fair challenge for your team regardless of what it is. He will also give a percentage at the start of the match to indicate the relative odds of your success. The only thing I can really say for certain about this fight otherwise is that the first time you fight him, he will not use any legendary Pokemon, and all of his Pokemon will have fixed individual values of 12. And the second time that you fight him, neither of these restrictions will be in play, and he will have Pokemon with 31 individual values across the board. Like, that is truly the only thing I can say for certain. Oh, interesting. So Rampardos was badly poisoned by the Toxic Orb. Interesting. Now, the thing to know about Thornton, now, despite the fact that he doesn't ever once appear in the anime, he technically has appeared in the manga alongside all the other Battle Frontier brains. But aside from him having a temper tantrum after losing, there really isn't much to discuss in the manga that's different from the games. Also, Tyranitar absolutely swept. Let's go. Alright, he's sending in Charizard as his second Pokemon. As long as we get lucky with the Rock Slide here, despite the fact that you use Smokescreen, we should be alright. Of course, Rock Slide misses. Fortunately, Charizard probably doesn't have anything that can really be a problem. The only thing I can really imagine is that he might have Focus Blast, but I don't know that for certain. That was a critical hit, too. Ugh. Of course, Tyranitar got burned. Still, Charizard is quad weak to Rock, so should still do enough. The only thing I can really say that's like remotely interesting about Thornton otherwise, aside from just how his gimmick works, weirdly enough, Thornton has appeared on more official Pokemon cards that either mention or explicitly show him than any other Frontier brand, and that's very weird to say. Yeah, but he pops up on the most Pokemon cards, so good on you, I guess? Just a little further. Flung the Iron Ball! Oh my god, the Iron Ball is so, like, crazy. That is such a weird strategy, but that is a good strategy to use with Fling. Alright, there we go! Okay, we actually beat him! Never let the odds tell you what they are. Whoa, you sure showed me. Heck yeah, we actually beat a Battle Frontier braid. I got handed the loss here. It's not making me happy at all, losing. Even though I'm not happy, I did glean some useful data, I suppose. That makes me glad I battled you. So, did you get to like those Pokemon you rented? As a factory head, it would sure make me happy if you did. Next time, come back with different rental Pokemon. Well, there we go! We actually beat a Battle Frontier braid. I'll take it. Save the last battle's battle video. You know what? I will save it, even though it's redundant for me to do so because technically all the footage that I've done is saved because of, me recording for the Let's Play. But hey, we did it. You've cleared your 7th Battle Factory match. Congratulations. In recognition of your deep knowledge of matters pertaining to Pokemon, we present you with BP. This time we got 20 BP for defeating Thornton. Heck yes. Congratulations. In recognition of your victory, we present you with this commemorative print. Yes, we got the silver print added to my Versus recorder. Fantastic. Hope to see you again. Oh, Balba's calling me again. Oh, hi, Griffin. It's a Warden Balba. We come up with new objects. Gee, I wonder how you found the time. With these, you should be able to meet lots of different Pokemon. Do your best. God bless. Yeah, given the circumstances, I would hope so that enough time has passed for Baoba to give me more objects. I'll take it. But with that, well, actually, before we end things off, let's take a sec to take a look at my commemorative silver print. Check the versive recorder here. Yeah, this is how the versive recorder looks here. Check my frontier record. So yeah, it shows a 36 BP on the bottom, but more importantly, it shows my silver print against the factory head Thornton. So there it is. If you ever want to check your prints, that's how you do it. But yeah, that is going to do it for the Battle Factory. There are obviously harder challenges that you can do at the Battle Factory, but I think you get the general gist of how it plays. And I hope that you kind of see the benefits of swapping out Pokemon every time. The first round is definitely rough when you do that, especially with the weak Pokemon that you work with. But as you can clearly see, in the long run, it absolutely pays to swap Pokemon every round, because I got Tyranitar of all things. My God, that's so good. I've come to the Battle Frontier to get a job. Thanks to my previous job, I'm good at cooking, cleaning, and laundry. Yeah, I ain't touching that one. Anyway, we're going to move on to the next battle facility here, and that's going to be the Battle Arcade, where events sway outcomes. Let's do this. This is probably one of my favorite ones in the game. Let's go. Welcome to the Battle Arcade, and may I just say, I love the lighting of this place. This is easily one of my favorite areas just because of the lighting here. I love dim lit areas. I don't always enjoy overly bright rooms, and just the low lighting of this place really gives this place a lot of atmosphere. So let's talk to some folks while we're here. The game board shows better choices the greater the wins you achieve. Could this board be alive? Interesting. There are advantages to be gained from stop on the spot skills, but there's a lot of fun in letting the unknown hand of luck decide. Interesting. I choose Pokemon that are good at attacking, but my opponent went for speed. Next time I'll try Pokemon with superior speed. That is an advantage to be sure. I thought I was fully prepared with my prized Pokemon, but I had to swap them and use my opponents instead. I need to rethink all my strategies. Yep, we'll be talking about what that means exactly in a minute. Do you know what I mean by stop on the spot? It's a skill stopping the game board at the right time. But remember, if you don't stop it in 30 seconds, it'll stop by itself. Okay, good. A bit of advice here. What do you have to say? What quality is most needed here? Is it strength? Wisdom? Luck? No, the answer is flexibility. That's what my gut tells me. Good bit of advice. There's an aspect of luck in Pokemon battles. The Battle Arcade reminds me of that, decisively. Very decisively. What do you have to say, my guy? The game board is like your life. It goes round and round as your fortune goes up and down. How does that sound? It almost made some kind of sense, didn't it? Yeah, we'll talk about the metaphors for life another time. Did you figure this one out? Paralyzing events here won't affect ground-type Pokemon. You should tell everybody. That is a good bit of advice. Well, again, we'll talk about the specifics later. I'll tell you something. Poison or freezing events can be made ineffective if the Pokemon's type or ability protects it from such stats problems. Might be worth knowing. Okay, so now that we've talked to everyone here, let's talk about the Battle Arcade, because boy, there's a lot to break down here. So, battles at the Battle Arcade revolve around a giant game board that acts like a roulette wheel. The game board helps steer the flow of battle, handing out advantages or handicaps to you and or your opponent, depending on what the wheel lands on. There are many types of boons on this wheel. So for starters, there are boons that affect either you or your opponent. If it's red, it affects your opponent, and if it's blue, it affects you. The boons that fall under this specific category are as follows. There are boons that lower the HP of your party or your opponent's party by 20%, boons that poison the party, boons that paralyze the party, boons that burn the party, or boons that freeze one Pokemon in the party. Now, as the hikers were indicating, these boons will not affect Pokemon that cannot normally be afflicted with these stats conditions. So ground types cannot get paralyzed, fire types cannot get burned, poison types cannot get poisoned, and ice types cannot get frozen. There are also boons that can give either you or your opponent berries for the entire round, as well as boons that give you or your opponent items for the entire round, because you don't normally work with held items in this specific mode, I believe. There's also a boon that can either raise the level of your party by 3 levels or raise the level of your opponent's party by 3 levels, so you definitely want to be very careful there. In addition to boons that affect either you or your opponent, there are also boons that are considered field effects. There are boons for sunny weather, rain weather, sandstorm weather, hail weather, fog weather, which is actually very rare because you cannot encounter this weather in any situation in this game otherwise. And there's also a field effect for setting up a trick room for the battle, causing the speed order to get reversed. There's also a board on the outcome that causes the Pokemon swap to occur, where you and your foe will swap all members of your respective teams and then battle. That's what that girl was talking about before. On top of all that, there are a few extra boons that don't really fall in any specific category. They're just kind of its own deal. So, a few other results that can happen. You can land on a deal that speeds up the game board or slows down the game board, or make it so that the game board's motion becomes entirely random. There's also boons that give you some BP. There's some boons that give you lots of BP. There's also 2 really good boons that are relatively rare, and they are pretty nice if you can get them. There's a boon that makes it so that way there is no effect for the battle at all, just a nice little reprieve from all the Battle Arcade's nonsense. And the best boon of all is the boon that lets you move on to the next battle without battling at all. You basically just get to straight up skip your opponent. If you can land on this boon, it'd be very helpful, especially, if you're in a situation where you're kind of limited on time for how long you can spend recording videos of you doing all the battle facilities. But, who does that? Who goes to such extremes to do this? Now, as far as any hints that I can give for this specific battle facility, because again, there is a bit of a luck factor here. First of all, it is important to help memorize the events. Obviously, I've shown the different symbols on screen, but there's no way to know for certain what all is going to happen. And so you really do want to be sure that you memorize all the symbols so you have at least some idea as to where to take the board each time. There is also a degree of timing that it comes with the board. It's not just random, even if you do set it to random. If you nail the timing for the board's movement itself, you can get exactly what you want every time. It does progressively get more difficult the more rounds you do, but you keep the momentum up and you can have a phenomenal time with it and just really nail the timing and get everything you want. The ideal method of going through the Battle Arcade is to give yourself a boost while debilitating your foes at the same time. And given that the held item boons or the berries boon affects the entire round and not just the single battle, it's definitely worth getting those early on so that you can focus on debilitating your opponents later on. If you have a team that would benefit from a specific weather condition, try to get that weather condition set up for your respective end if it is possible. And of course, like always, I highly recommend having Pokemon of various types, not just because it's generally good for all battle facilities in general, but it's also really good in the case of dealing with the boons that would give you bad stats conditions. Because if you have Pokemon that are immune to those stats conditions, it can be helpful in that respect. And having Pokemon of multiple types can make it so that way it's less likely to be a problem for you. So now that I've finished explaining how the Battle Arcade works, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. We're going to be doing single battle mode as always for this, because that's how we end up fighting the Battle Frontier Brain for this specific area, and I'll be glad to talk about them once we get to it. But yeah, there really isn't anything else to do. We are going to be using our actual Pokemon this time, so it is going to be a little bit more straightforward this time than the last time. For this specific run through, I'm going to have Blazer, Akira, and Mizumori come in. Akira didn't really get to do anything before, and I want to give Akira his fair due. So Blazer, Akira, Mizumori, let's do this. Right this way, please. And here we go. Welcome to the Battle Arcade. First, I'll need to hold on to any items held by your Pokemon. Yeah, like I said, the items that your Pokemon bring with them are irrelevant. So you want to try to get held items from the board if possible. Game number 1, come on. Without further ado, let's activate the game board. The nice thing about this mode is that we are capable of seeing what my opponents are going to be using, and that is not going to change. Let's go. Time to go gambling. Let's see here. All right, that's going to give me berries for this round, I believe. Just so I have some stuff in my Pokemon. So we got the Pecha Berry. Not the best berry in the world, but it does make it so my Pokemon cannot get poisoned at the very least. And as always, I am going to be speeding up through the majority of these battles because, again, if there was any like concrete arrangement to how to go about going through these battles, if there was a like strict order to like what Pokemon I'm going to be fighting, it would be worth showing off, but I really cannot guarantee what is going to happen or what Pokemon they're going to use in any round. So it's just kind of best that I just go at it in my usual way. All right, come on, Blazer. All right, there we go. We lost Papa. I'm so sorry. Oh, and after every battle, your Pokemon does get healed. This should be obvious at this point, but do know that it's not the case with every single one of the battle facilities. So I do appreciate them acknowledging it every time. All right, now for game number 2. Let's see what we got. Without further ado, let's activate the game board. Okay, nice. So that's red, so that will paralyze my opponent's team. So that's just what happens when it does that. It gives a neat yellow light, and so now every one of their Pokemon is going to be paralyzed. So as you can see, they instantly start the battle nice and paralyzed, so I don't need to worry about them outspeeding me. Not that I was particularly worried about that, given that I'm fighting flippin' Shingling here. Critical hit, let's go. I just realized, like, this woman's name is Peaches. Like, her name is Peaches. I don't know how to feel about that, because honestly, like, great name for a dog, but, like, I don't know, is Peaches a good name for a person? If your name is Peaches, I'm sorry. And all of a sudden, I'm remembering that my sister actually did have a phase where she went by the name of Peaches online. Sorry, sis. Your legal name is still not Peaches, and you don't go by Peaches these days, I think. Anyway, more gambling, baby. Let's go. All right. A lot of red on me this time. There we go. So now we're going to poison the opposing Pokemon. So now it gets a nice purple light to indicate that. In a situation like this, I do not believe it constitutes as them getting badly poisoned. It's just the normal type of poison. But hey, normal poison, bad poison, it's all still awful. Oh, Blazer, hang on. Nope. Critical hit, quick attack. No. All right, game number 4. Let's see what we got now. Time for more gambling. Okay, not too bad of a lineup. Blazer can probably deal with this. Okay, so most of them is either going to be changing the order of the board. I'm going to paralyze their party here. Paralysis is generally going to be better than poison. Not that poison doesn't have its own merits, but I would say like burn or paralysis are probably going to be better because it actually affects your opposing Pokemon's stats. And that's going to be the thing that's going to really give you an edge in this facility. Bro, it went for Fake Out twice. My brother, you can't use Fake Out 2 times in a row. You know this. You know it to be true. All right, game number 5, baby. Let's see what we got on the board this time. Okay, most of this is either affecting the board change. I'm going to try to poison them in this case. There we go. Again, poison's not the most ideal thing, but it's also trying to get them to... trying to give the enemy some berries, and I don't want that. Again, if you get the timing down, this thing is such a non-issue. But it does not get easier over time. Honestly, I do miss having my Power Herb equipped, because, like, don't get me wrong, like the Pecha Berry's fine, but there's a reason I gave the Power Herb to Blazer specifically, so that way Solar Beam can be spammed without having to worry about charging it every time. So it's always a huge risk to use Solar Beam, but it seems to be working out okay for the most part. Cookie, please miss. Vice Grip! Always have to remember that, like, especially early on, sometimes the movesets for the opposing Pokemon is kind of trash. But you got to remember that it doesn't matter how easy it is early on. What matters is how difficult is it going to be later on. This is going to work. My grades are the best in class, but yeah. Your grades don't matter here, kid. It's all about the gambling, baby. Which is not really gambling because it's more of a test of timing than anything else. Ooh, a lot of stuff that can affect the opponent. In this case, I think I'm going to try to go for bird. Yep, there we go. Now, of course, in a situation like this, because one of the Pokemon that she is using is a fire type, that fire type is not going to get burned. Only the Corphish and the Carvana will get burned. As for the one that will not be burned, that is our level 50 Chimchar. We have not really talked about Chimchar in this game. Chimchar is actually the Fire Sinnoh starter that was introduced in Gen 4. It's basically just a faster version of Blaziken. Ultimately becomes a firefighting type. It hits slightly harder, it hits slightly faster, but it is not as good defensively. But anyway, enough with that. Corphish is here, and Corphish is burned, which is actually really good because Corphish is meant to be a physical water type, which works in this game, as we discussed before, but also does not really work all that well when its attack is halved by burn, which is what matters here. And to the surprise of nobody, Blazer absolutely tore through her team. But hey, what are you going to do? Blazer's the god of destruction. It doesn't matter how much gambling you throw into the mix. All right, game number 7. Let's do this. Okay, so she's actually got a decent team. And once again, we're dealing with a Lumineon. This is proof that the game is actively trying to make my life harder. This is interesting because in the majority of cases, most of the results were actually nothing. But that doesn't matter because I am still a master of timing, which means I still got her whole team paralyzed, despite the game board really not wanting me to do that. I need Lumineon to get paralyzed because, as we saw before, Lumineon is a much bigger pain in the rear than I thought it was going to be. Come on, Blazer! Lumineon's going to be the death of me. Lumineon gave me such trouble in the battle tower, and now Lumineon's ultimately giving me trouble here. I know that was all a Hitmontop, but still. Lumineon brought this out of me. Oh, there we go, baby. That's what we love to see. Paralyzed Lumineon, not being able to do a thing. The big problem here is that Mantine has a lot of special defense, but evidently Akita has a lot more special attack. So, we're good. We are good. Oh my, you're quite the capable practitioner of the art. Yeah. The art of gambling. So just so you know, you can only save one battle video at a time. So if you recall, in the last episode, I did save a battle video of my battle against a Factor Head Thornton. So it now is going to prompt me if I want to delete the battle video. And I do not. I will take my 2 BP and move on. Thank you. Get the general gist of things? Good. Because now we need to go into round 2. That was only the first round, and they're only going to get tougher from here. It's such a cool area. And again, like just the lack of lighting in this place, it's so nice. I love it. Also, hey, you can't cycle indoors. Fool! You've broken the laws of the world! Okay, so as we can see here, now that we've entered round 2, we are seeing some additional things here. So right here, we're seeing some boost to levels and reduction in HP as well. I'm not going to focus on the levels right now. I'm going to focus on getting myself some berries because that is what's going to matter early on right now. We want to get those berries so that way we have some nice stuff. We got the Lumberry. That's actually super nice. So the Lumberry is the be-all, end-all berry that makes it so that way if your Pokemon is afflicted with any status condition, the Lumberry will instantly cure it. So it's actually really nice to have, especially when we've seen pre-existing status conditions before. Ooh, I got punched quickly by Monkey. Here's natural disaster from God. Have fun. How is Quillfish even affected by earthquakes? It's floating in the air constantly. I know it's like, because it has to have poison point instead of levitate, but still seems kind of counterintuitive. There's Linoon. It's interesting, really, because like I was going through, like, of course, like all the sprites between Gen 3 and Gen 4 when I had to complete like all the bios for the Pokemon. And when I was making the Linoon bio and the Zitzagoon bio, I realized that like the sprite that they used for Linoon in this game is pretty much the exact same sprite that they used for Gen 3. Like, I don't think it's 1-to-1, but it's pretty close. Listen, I'm not putting my filthy hands on your bike. Like, get that out of here. You're the one riding a bike indoors. It's like, forget gambling. Who cares about the legality of gambling? You're riding a bike indoors. All right, more gambling on the game board. Okay, so most of these are to my opponent's benefit or detriment. I'm going to try. There we go. So I landed on the plus level, which means my Pokemon are going to get 3 additional levels for this specific battle. How exactly that works, I'm not sure. We're under a magical green light that makes it possible. But it does give you an advantage. Normally, the level does not matter in most cases, but it only doesn't matter because everyone's the same level. So when you're not the same level, it gives you a straight-up advantage because all of your stats get boosted a little bit.
Cornfish! Cornfish has seen the light of God. Cornfish can only devise for its own wrath of God.
Blazer is not God. At least not the one true God. But that doesn't mean he isn't trying. What do we got here? Okay, so most of this is going to affect his team. Let's go ahead and decrease their HP. So this will lower their HP by 20% in this case. So as you can see right here, Riolu has lost a good chunk of its HP before it even got into battle properly. So that makes getting through these fights a lot easier. That was a pretty straightforward battle once again, but hey, what are you gonna do? Oh, I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna do more gambling, and once again, we're getting caught by the media doing so. Okay, I did not mean to land on that one. I hit it a little too early. So now for this battle, we're going to be doing things in a sandstorm. The cameraman just said you probably can't tell, but I can see you down to your pores. Honestly, given the circumstances, it's a pretty fair argument to make, given that I can barely see him in the sandstorm. So the sandstorm is not necessarily beneficial for my party for obvious reasons, but it's not beneficial for his party either. He doesn't have any Pokemon whose special defense is boosted in the sandstorm. So while it could be worse, it could be better for me, but it could definitely be worse as well. So I'll take it for what it is. The only thing I can't do freely is I can't really use Solar Beam as easily because I'm pretty sure Sandstorm does affect the charge rate of Solar Beam. I know Rain does. Oh, critical hit focus blast. Let's go, Blazer. That's how we do. No Sandstorm is going to create problems for me. Thank you very much. Oh, there's Mantike. Very cute little guy. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a good way of dealing with Mantike as a Blazer, like at all. So I'm just going to set it on fire until that stops working. Okay, let's bring in the real queen here. That's the beautiful thing about our situation. Blazer is usually able to get through a lot of the team relatively easily, while I still have 2 other Pokemon waiting in the wing. So, pretty nice in that respect. Also, Paralysis. Let's go, Mizumori. Oh no, anyway. Okay, you know what's sad about that? That Aerolace actually did less damage than the Sandstorm did. Sandstorm did like 12 damage, Aerolace only did 10. That is sad. Your attack did less than generic chip damage. Alright, game number 5, baby, let's go. Okay, a lot of these boost the level of my opponent. Oh, darn it. Looks like my timing's getting a little bit off. I meant to give myself more levels, but I instead end up giving my opponent some berries. But that's okay. I also have berries, and I still have good ways of dealing with my opponents without too much issue. So it should be okay. I'm glad that in these battle facilities, I've been able to effectively show off everything that Blazer is really capable of doing. Because I'll admit, Solar Beam and Focus Blast really did not get a lot of time as far as their usage in the Let's Play. Well, at least like the main portions of like what's required in this Let's Play. So I'm glad I'm really able to earnestly show all of these things off and really be able to show up like, yeah, giving all these moves to Blazer really does give him a lot of coverage and really does enable him to just be an absolute destructive force on the battlefield. At least that's what I hope I've demonstrated here. All right, game number 6, baby, let's go. Game number 6 of round 2. All right, Maton, Cacturn, and Piloswine. Okay, that's pretty good. Pretty good team. Let's try to debilitate them this time. Okay. There we go. I decrease their HP by 20%. I will take that. Hopefully that does not affect the people, too, because I don't think that old man can afford to lose 20% of his life at this point. What's really nice about the battle facilities is that in a lot of cases, how do I put this? Usually when you are able to get into super effective hits, sometimes you're just barely able to not one-shot things. And having 20% of their health be away right from the get-go is actually really helpful because it gets rid of that margin and makes it more likely you'll be able to take things out in one hit. There we go, baby. Swept by the king, Blazer, once again. All right, game number 7 of round 2. We are doing very well, at least in comparison to Battle Factory. Battle Factory took a while. Okay, we have a lot here, but at the same time, they really just want nothing to happen. So I'm still gonna have things happen anyway. So more HP shenanigans, baby. Raise them with love and Pokemon will answer with kind. Yeah, unless you are caught under a magic light that takes away 20% of their HP. Oh, trying to set toxic spikes. Well, that's not too bad. Especially with Earthquake here. Weirdly enough, Earthquake cannot get rid of toxic spikes. You'd think that a natural disaster would be able to blast away some toxic spikes, but nope. Only if you spin really, really fast around in one place can you actually get rid of the toxic spikes. There we go, baby. We are killing it so far, but that does not mean we are finished. We were able to get through the first 2 rounds of relative ease, but we still have quite a bit left to do. We still have the 3rd round to take care of. But as you can see, gambling's fun. I don't know what to say. You should gamble in-game and not in real life because doing so will destroy your financial situation. But gamble in this game in any way that you can because gambling in this game is a lot of fun. Anyway, round 3, baby. For this next specific round, I'm actually going to bring in Hogan for reasons that I hope will become relatively apparent here. Hogan's going to be pretty helpful because unlike the last battle facility, the Battle Frontier brain does have a relatively fixed team, and so using Hogan here is probably going to be to my benefit. All right, time for the 3rd round, baby, and you know what that means. More gambling. Let's go. So a lot of these are going to be benefiting me from the outset, but a lot of these can also be detrimental to me. The only thing that can be really used on the opponent is going to be certain things. So in this case, Fudge. I meant to either do the one before or after. Fortunately, Blazer cannot get burned, but Blazer going to have to do a lot of work now. At least we can show up that, yes, bringing in a fire type to this specific area, it does have its merits. Even if they're using Pokemon that are going to be problematic for fire types. Thank you for getting off the Focus Blast, Blazer. But you are a godsend. Critical hit, super effective Focus Blast, thank God. Oh, come on. Come on. Just barely not one-shotting things. All right, back on to game 2. Hopefully we get a better result this time. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of flying types this time. If we can get them paralyzed, it'd be nice, but... Wow, literally nothing beneficial for me. Fudge! That is not good. That is really bad. Fortunately, Mizumori is here, even though Blazer did suffer a little bit, because Mizumori can handle everything that's left. Mizumori's got that Ice Beam, got that Thunderbolt, but we are good here. You got one free turn, Noctowl, and you set up a reflect against a special attacker. Great job. Okay, we are really not off to a good start here, but we're still getting through this. Now, if I could get some, like, anything that's beneficial to me, it'd be nice. Okay, there we go. I got the plus level result this time. So it should be a little easier for me to get through this next battle. Scratch! Just gonna go ahead and use Surf and just wash Soul Rock away. It did get a boost from Cosmic Boost, so it will not matter. I don't know why I was worried. Mizumori always comes through in the end. All right, there we go. Black Belt Soren. Man, it's rotten and tired of hunger. Want to go home? Well, then go home, my guy. Proper nutrition is important. I say that as if I haven't been eating cake all day because my birthday is the day after I'm recording this. There we go. Oh, wait, no. This actually won't do all that much, thinking about it more. I was able to paralyze him, but that only really applies for... Actually, no. Depending on what he has on Hitmonchan, it may not affect him at all. Okay, so it did affect Hitmonchan, but March Stomp and Sand Slash are completely unaffected because they're both ground types. Please don't, please don't, please don't. There we go, baby. Fortunately, even with the speed reduction, Blazer is still faster. But yeah, Solar Beam is such a huge risk when I don't have the ability to use my Power Herb. I'm actually going to go for Earthquake here. I know Flamethrower will ultimately have higher power, but Hitmonchan doesn't have a lot of physical defense, so I think like that's going to be the best play here. Okay, it's going for Mind Reader. So whatever it uses next, it absolutely will hit. The ideal move, I would think, given Hitmonchan's moveset, is Dynamic Punch. But Mach Punch works too. I'm not sure if it'll matter in this case, but... Oh, critical hit Flamethrower, boosted by Blaze. I was not worried in the slightest. Oh, boo, boo, this time I'm not talking to you. No one's nice to me here. Like, just because I do better at gambling than everyone else, they're just justified in being mean to me all the time, and I don't feel like that's fair, frankly. So the ideal one, we really do not want Rain. There we go. That'll paralyze most of his team. Sand Slash will not be affected by this, but Blossom and Gorebyss should be affected by the paralysis here, so we should be good here. At least I'm getting my groove back in terms of the timing on the board. Oh, critical hit, super effective Flamethrower. Let's go, Blazer. Just keep on trucking, my guy. I know Solar Beam would be super effective, but I can't risk it because Sand Slash can hit really hard, and this thing probably does have Earthquake. Oh. Well. Speaking of Earthquake, why don't we give that a whirl? Well, it's underground. Yeah, good thing to know. Another benefit of using Earthquake is if your opponent decides to use Dig like a coward, just use Earthquake and blast them. All right, this is the penultimate battle. We get through this, and we can fight the Battle Frontier Brain. I'm going to give myself a level boost in this case, given the current events that are available here. There shouldn't be any Pokemon that are really too much of a problem. Magmar can be problematic, but I also have multiple Pokemon that can deal with it, especially Blazer. So we should be okay. We just need to keep on the pressure. Also, Golbat using Zen Headbutt? Like, that's very bizarre. I suppose Golbat can get it under the right circumstances. Yeah, Zubat can get Zen Headbutt by breeding, so it does make sense that Golbat can have it. Speaking of Zen Headbutt, that makes more sense, frankly. All right, all we have to do is get past this Boober, and then we're good. What? That's what it's called. It's Magmar's official Japanese name. It's called Boober. Look it up. Don't judge me. I'm not the one that named it Boober. Anyway, Psychic Jillian, who kind of weird too. She did use multiple Psychic type moves. Like, not that it ever matters, but she did, for the record, use Psychic type Pokemon. Well, Pokemon Psychic type moves anyway. Congratulations, trainer. In recognition of your outstanding skill, our Frontier Brain is demanding a match with you. So, your next match is against the Arcade Star. No ifs or buts. Are you ready? Next up, Game 7. Are you ready? Absolutely. Let's do this. It's time for the mother heckin' party to begin. There she is, my queen, Dahlia. No need to worry. Let's chance see what it does. Like surprises from the game board, life goes through twists and turns. No need to worry. Things will go as they will. But enough of that. I know one thing for certain. You have arrived here not merely because you were lucky. Let us not waste any time. I wish to test your skills myself. Without further ado, let's activate the game board. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay. I'm gonna do what I did the first time I fought her. Well, I fought her like the very first time I fought her. I did exactly this. I paralyzed her team, which might ultimately rear end me later, but I don't care because we're fighting Dahlia. We're challenged by Arcade Star Dahlia. And in this case, she's going to be starting off with a Dust Noir that, thanks to me, is paralyzed at level 50. This Dust Noir, as always, is exerting pressure for the ability. It has the moves Shadow Punch, Fling, Will-O-Wisp, and Trick Room. It has a brave nature and its 252 attack and defense effort values. So using special attacks is going to be your friend here against Dust Noir. Her main strategy is trying to debilitate your Pokemon while also trying to set up Trick Room. Most of her Pokemon are not particularly fast, except for her Medicham for some reason, but we'll get to that later. Anyway, Dust Noir wants to try to use Trick Room, so I'm going to use Flamethrower on Dust Noir. It's probably not going to get it off the field immediately because Dust Noir has a ton of defense and special defense, but it also has 0 effort values in that special defense. Yep, as I suspected, Dust Noir immediately went for Trick Room, so next turn Dust Noir is going to go first. Because Dust Noir is a beast. Using Shadow Punch, it's a physical ghost-type move that cannot ever miss. Oh, come on. It's just like, this is what I mean. It's like just barely not one-shotting things. Yeah, so the Trick Room will probably be a little problematic, but that's okay. So next up, she's sending in Ludicolo, level 50. Once again, it is paralyzed thanks to the game board. Has moves Waterfall, Razor Leaf, Drain Punch, and Sword Stance. I'm going to assume that it's probably going to go for Sword Stance this turn, so I am actually going to... Nope. It immediately went for Drain Punch. That's okay. Any turn that we can get the Sack Blazer off means that Poke can come in and the Trick Room will eventually end. Dust Noir lasted a good bit of time, so we should be okay. We just need to get a good hit on Mega Horn and then we'll be good. Hopefully this will work out. Oh, before I forget, because I didn't bring it up, 252 attack effort values and 252 special defense effort values on Ludicolo. Her last Pokemon is Medicham, level 50. It is currently paralyzed thanks to the game board. It has the moves Zen Headbutt, Reversal, Endure, and Fake Out. Has Jolly Nature with 252 attack effort values and 252 speed effort values. So this can definitely be a bit of a problem, especially given that Trick Room is still in effect. But fortunately, despite everything, Medicham is still faster than Hogan, meaning that Trick Room actually works in my favor. Which is crazy to think about given that Medicham's speed is halved. Unfortunately, Hogan did not survive. Okay, so we just need to get one good hit here and then we should be okay. Of course it gets Endure. So it's the last one more round. That's a big problem. I need Medchen to be paralyzed right now. Oh, right, Trick Room! I forgot Trick Room! It actually worked out! Ah! We did it! You're very, very, very good. My Pokemon had a good time, too. Let's go, baby. We defeated Dahlia. How fabulous of you. Your love of Pokemon shone through, and in turn, your Pokemon believed in you. That's why you handled everything thrown your way splendidly. Most wonderful victory it was. Delete your existing battle bid and save your last battle. No, I'm not going to do that, but I am going to talk about a couple things concerning Dahlia before we move on, because I didn't really talk about anything during the fight because I was really just truly invested in that. My concentration was entirely on it. Because here's the thing. Admittedly, there isn't much to say concerning Dahlia outside the games. She never appears in the anime, and while she does appear in the manga, her facility is pretty by the numbers in the Pokemon Adventures manga. The only notable detail is that she ended up landing the roulette itself in the manga and landed on the Pokemon swap result, forcing Platinum, our heroine, to fight her own Pokemon using Dahlia's team, which is pretty interesting. That said, it is worth pointing out that in the English version of the games, she has a catchphrase, which you saw toward the beginning of the fight, meaning no need to worry. For those of you who have been to the game long enough, you know that catchphrase belongs to Dawn from the anime. But what's weirder is that it's actually different, because in the Japanese version, she instead says, que sera sera, which not only conveys the same attitude, but is also a reference to the popular song by Doris Day of the same name. I don't know why they decided to make a Doris Day reference in Pokemon, but they did. And her title of, trainer class of Arcade Star is unique to her, but personally, I prefer her Japanese title, which is Roulette Goddess, because that's exactly what she is. You've cleared your 7th battle. Congratulations. You've earned BP as your prize. We got another 20 BP for defeating Dahlia. All right, in honor of my victory, we present you with this commemorative print. We got the silver print for this facility added to the Versus Recorder. Very nice. Now, before we move on, I do want to also acknowledge what Dahlia's rematch team would be, because there is a second team that she has later on, and it is relatively fixed. So, if you were to fight her a second time, you would be facing off against a Zapdos. Yes, a Zapdos. With a Moose Thunderbolt, Air Cutter, Heat Wave, and Sinnoh Beam. With a modest nature with 252 special attack and speed effort values. Her second Pokemon would be Blaziken with Flare Blitz, Superpower, Thunder Punch, and Night Slash. Has the Adamant nature with 252 attack and speed effort values. And her third Pokemon would be Togekiss with Hyper Beam, Air Slash, Aura Sphere, and Psychic. Has the modest nature with 252 special attack and speed effort values. So yeah, her second team is cracked. I'm glad we didn't have to fight that today, but that doesn't mean that her first team is anything to snuff at. Like, her first team's pretty good too, just not as quite insanely good as her second team. But yeah, that pretty much covers everything that I wanted to go over in the Battle Arcade. The place I like best among the 5 facilities here would be the Battle Castle, because you can see Lady Caitlin there. Ah, yes, Lady Caitlin. We'll be talking about her profusely today, because we are going to the Battle Castle, manage battles with castle points. So, without any further ado, let us head on in. Welcome to the Battle Castle. What do you have to say, my guy? Listen carefully. If your Pokemon win without taking damage, you'll earn more CP. The more the merrier. Look at me, I don't have much. Jeez, that's horribly self-deprecating of you. Listen, you can earn more castle points or CP by facing higher level opponents. This is what they call high risk, high return. That was high risk, high reward, but, tomato, tomato. At first, you can only use CP for restoring HP, but you can spend CP to rank up. Then you can even restore PP. We'll be getting into what they're talking about when it comes to CP, because it does absolutely matter here, but I'm going to talk to the rest of the APCs first and then explain how things go before we get into the specifics on this. Before every battle, you should check the opponent's lineup. Don't be cheap with your CP. It's not like the old saying goes about knowing your enemy. Unless you enter the enemy's lair, you cannot take their prize. That's not the right old saying. It's like, what are they talking about? Mr. Dark. His feelings for Lady Caitlin are all bottled up. Oh, how I pine for him. Okay, so there's a guy named Dark here. We'll get to him shortly. If you lose, your entire stock of CP is cleared out to 0. This is the rule of the Battle Castle. Duly noted. My dream is to wear a beautiful dress and live in a castle. That's not what I meant to say. My dream is to live in a castle with someone who wears a beautiful dress. Okay, that makes more sense, my guy. I mean, either way, to each their own, but that makes a little bit more sense. So, before we get started with our campaign to the Battle Castle, let's talk about how this works exactly, because Battle Castle is very unique. Well, they're all unique, but Battle Castle is even more unique in its own way. So first of all, unlike most other battle facilities, all held items by your party are removed prior to battling. So if you don't have any viable items, don't worry, they're not needed here. It's also worth pointing out that unlike other battle facilities, your party is not fully restored after every fight. The reason for this will kind of be explained briefly, but just keep that in mind as you do proceed through the Battle Castle. Every battle in the Battle Castle rewards you with Castle Points, or CP, by the Castle Valet Dark on the behest of Lady Caitlin, the princess of the castle who watches over the battles. You will start the campaign with 10 CP and earn more with each battle you complete. How much CP you get in each battle is determined by several contributing factors, some of which are completely within your control. Here are the factors. For every Pokemon that in your party that has not fainted, you get 3 CP. For every Pokemon that's at full HP by the end of the battle, 3 CP. For every Pokemon in your party with more than half HP remaining, you get 2 CP. For every one of your Pokemon that has less than half their remaining HP, you get 1 CP. If you use a total of 5 PP or less in a given battle, you get 8 CP. If you use a total of 10 PP or less, you get 6 CP. And if you use a total of 15 PP or less, you get 4 CP. Now, that's all well and good, but what does CP do for you? Well, you might say everything, because CP is how you make the most of this experience. There are multiple ways to spend CP. You can use CP to heal your party, use CP to make the fights easier or harder by affecting your opponent's level or by finding out information about them, including their stats and moves. You can use CP to obtain held items for your party members. You can also use 50 CP to straight up skip the upcoming battle if you don't want to do it. However, not all methods of spending CP are available immediately. In order for you to get the best stuff out of this facility, you also have 3 categories of ranks you need to rank up by spending CP to get access to better stuff. There are 3 categories to take note of. First of all, the recovery category, which affects how you can heal your team. By default, at rank 1, you can only restore 1 Pokemon's HP for 10 CP at the end of a given round. At rank 2, which requires 100 CP to unlock, you can restore a Pokemon's PP for 8 CP. And at rank 3, which requires another 100 CP to unlock, you can unlock full recovery, which costs 12 CP to use, but will then fully restore the Pokemon's HP and PP. It is worth pointing out that regardless of how far along you upgrade this, you can only restore one of your Pokemon at a time. So if you want to fully restore all 3 members of your party if you're doing a single battle campaign, you are ultimately going to need to spend between 12 and 36 CP. But depending on your situation, you may not need to restore PP depending on how efficient you are with your usage. The second category is item. This allows you to spend CP to rent held items or berries for your Pokemon. At rank 1, you have access to 8 berries. I will be showing the precise berries and their CP cost on screen to save you time, but these are the ones that are available by default. At rank 2, which requires 100 CP to unlock, you get access to 8 berries and 12 items. Again, I will show the precise details here. And at rank 3, which requires 150 CP to unlock, you now have access to 32 different berries and 27 held items. Again, the details are on screen. And last up is the info category. As the name implies, this lets you find out more about your opponent and also allows you to affect them in certain ways too. At rank 1, which is the default rank, you can examine the Pokemon your opponent is using for 1 CP. You can spend 1 CP to raise the opponent's level by 5. You can also spend 15 CP to lower the opponent's level by 5. You can spend 2 CP to learn your opponent's stats. And at rank 2, which costs 50 CP to unlock, you can then spend 5 CP to learn your opponent's moves. And like always, I do have a few tips that I recommend acting on when going through the Battle Castle. First off, heal your team when you reasonably can. If you're good on HP and PP after a fight, then save the CP for later, but otherwise, it doesn't hurt to heal. It also helps if you're willing to use CP to learn about your opponent, but it might not be entirely necessary if you're properly accustomed to these facilities by this point. I also recommend being mindful of Pokemon with healing moves or abilities. If they drag on the fight or inflict too much damage, it will hurt your CP rewards in the long run. And like the other battle facilities, the first 21 fights that you will go through here are not too difficult, but they will get much harder afterwards. So do keep that in mind and do especially be more cautious as you proceed further in. So now that we have gone through every aspect of the Battle Castle in terms of how it works, let's actually play this out and meet Darak for the first time. Welcome to the Battle Castle. I'm your guide to single and double battle challenges. Please be aware these challenges are designed for a single trainer. Which challenge you'd like to take? As always, we're going to be doing the single battle campaign because that is the one that allows you to actually fight the Frontier Brain. Please select the Pokemon you wish to enter. So much like the Battle Arcade, I'm going to be going with Blazer, Akira, and Mizumori for this. Akira's got good special offense, and Blazer and Mizumori have a lot of good coverage, and I feel like that's going to be beneficial for the overall campaign of this. I might change things up a little bit, but overall, I think this is going to be a good setup for what we are going to be accomplishing here today. So let's go. And as always, the game is going to make you save your game before you actually start the campaign because they don't want you to be scummy about anything. Right this way, please. Welcome to the Battle Castle. My name is Darak. I will be your host on behalf of Lady Caitlin, the owner of the castle. First, I must ask you for any items your Pokemon are holding. They will be returned to you when you leave. Next, I have here 10 castle points, CP, that can be used only here. They are for you. Please accept them. Please choose what you wish to do. So, like I said, there's a lot of different things that you can do right toward the start. Given where we are right at the start, I am actually going to do some stuff with the opponent because I want to get some early points earlier on. So in this UI, you have a bunch of different things here, so you can check them, you can check their level, you can examine the stats of Pokemon if you want. Again, it's all going to cost CP to examine this. So I am going to simply increase the level. Because again, right now, it's not that big of a deal. You can only increase their level by up to 5. You can't just like continually increase their level multiple times. And of course, I will be checking them just to see what we have in store here. You've got to be kidding me. Why is it always water Pokemon? I swear these guys are always like intentionally trying to specifically screw over Blazer. They know what they're doing, guys. All right, so I have spent a little bit of CP, but I promise you in the long run, it is going to pay off. It's all about giving a little to get a lot each round. Very well, please proceed. I just now got back from my vacation. Look at this amazing battle hall. Honestly, it is just a beautiful venue. This is one of my favorite areas in the game. Now, obviously, I am going to be going through these battles relatively quickly, and I'm going to be skipping over a good majority of the footage here, because as important as these battles are for the campaign, you guys don't really need to see every individual component of this. That said, it is quite annoying that Seal used Fake Out, because that is just a cheap way for me to not have my Pokemon at full HP. But I'm guessing that was the intent here. Okay, I'm going to take a calculated risk here with Solar Beam. Clamperl is a water type, but it is not particularly powerful. Oh my god, they're already getting started with the shenanigans. I'm already getting, like, absolutely, like, clapback right now. Because, like, again, I swear the game knows. The game knows that I'm using Blazer and is just trying to discourage me from using it. Oh, thank you, Happini, once again for healing me a present. Your track record with that has not been great. Well, there we go. It severely debilitated Blazer, but it will get some castle points regardless. Dark, CP for this trainer at once. Griffin, bravo. A fantastic victory, to be sure. Lady Caitlin has instructed me to award you 45 CP. So yeah, totally worth it. I spent just like little more than half my CP to get 45. It is worth pointing out, just for your relative edification, status conditions do not transfer over. At least I'm pretty sure they do not. The damage that you take and the amount of power points you end up using do unfortunately get used up, but the status conditions do not transfer over. So Blazer was badly poisoned in the last battle, but it appears as though he is no longer badly poisoned. So I just have to worry about restoring HP since I can't actually restore Blazer's PP at the moment. But we're going to work on that. I'm going to spend 10 CP to get Blazer back to normal. Okay, I've done all the preparations I can. I've spent a little bit more CP this time since I had to heal up Blazer. But again, the status condition should be good. But of course, I will double check on this just to be certain here. In romance, fashion, and Pokemon, today's girls want it all. Yeah, they do. They just don't want me. That's not a joke, by the way. So yes, as we can see here, Blazer did take a badly poisoned status in the last battle. I did not do anything to get rid of the poison status. It just goes away after the battle. But do note that because I don't have the ability to restore Blazer's power points, Solar Beam, Flamethrower, and Earthquake lost their respective ones, and it was especially detrimental for Focus Blast because Blazer was forced to use Focus Blast over and over thanks to Encore. So, thanks, Seal. You had the option to send in Shuppet to actually try to debilitate Blazer further, and you decide to throw a Chikorita in front of the God of Destruction. I don't care if you're 5 levels higher. I don't care if Chikorita's super defensive. It's not gonna work. You tried screwing me over with 2 water Pokemon game, and I'm not gonna overlook that. But that does not mean you're getting a free pass here. Dark, CP for this train at once. I only ended up using 3 moves this time, so we should be getting more. Yes, we got 50 CP this time. Very nice. I don't need to do anything to myself. Well, there's nothing I can do for myself right now. My Pokemon are at full HP, and I don't have any way of restoring power points at the moment, so we're just going to keep the course here. I definitely do recommend doing the level trick with your opponent early on. I don't necessarily advise it for later battles unless you just really want to challenge yourself and are like extremely confident in your abilities. But early on, it's totally worth doing because you get the same amount of CP either way. So it's worth doing it early on when the risks are kind of further minimized. Okay, so this is a minor problem. So I'm going to be using Focus Blast on this Baneri here. What the heck? Oh, come on. I am going to bed. Come on, Blazer. Please, 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 please. No! Come on! Okay. This is a Baneri, by the way. This is not Lopunny. This is Baneri. Basic Baneri here. I know I shouldn't be getting upset about, like, me like not being at full HP because I obviously know like that's the point. Like they're trying to debilitate and annoy me, but it still doesn't hurt any less. Yeah, so we still got 41 CP, even though we didn't quite get everything we needed. So, okay. At the very least, if one of your Pokemon does get knocked out, they will get revived, though I don't think that they're full HP. Let me double check on that. Oh, no, they're absolutely not at full HP. They're brought to 1 HP. So yeah, we're going to restore HP, and I'm also gonna go ahead and bite the bullet here and do a rank up right now, just so I can restore PP later on. It's just being able to deal with this quickly is gonna be the key here. So once we unlock this, we'll have this indefinitely. I'm not gonna do it right this second because I don't have enough CP to do it. Sorry for looking so scruffy and dirty. I've been holed up in the mountains. Well, thanks for telling me. You didn't bother to clean yourself up when entering a castle in front of a lady? The disrespect on this man. Okay, thank God that Focus Blast hit. Not that I didn't have other options, but that was my last Focus Blast. So I may want to consider restoring my PP later on after this. We'll see how we're doing. Yeah, some battles are like extremely painful and difficult. Others are like just so easy. But hey, Blazer's doing well. Doing a lot better than I thought he was going to do, honestly. Okay, so now we have 51 CP again. So we're going to do a couple things first. So Blazer is completely out of PP for Focus Blast. So I'm going to restore the power points here. So now Blazer is totally restored on that front. And now we're going to check to see what my opponent's going to be using. Okay, Lombre, that's a problem. Staryu, that's also a major problem. And Piplup, that is also a major problem. Are you serious? Like, for real? 3 water types. Like, I'm sorry, you cannot tell me they're not doing this on purpose. Like, this has come up so often. They consistently try to screw Blazer over. Again, some battles he does fine. Like, some battles a total non-issue. I promise you, they're doing this on purpose, and I am not going to stand for this. Okay, just out of caution, I am going to only increase Staryu's level by 5 and Piplup's level by 5, because Lombre is a little bit better. I have a good feeling as to what Lombre is going to be doing right at the start. I obviously could have identified the moves to be certain, but I know Lombre's strategy relatively well. I know his moveset. I'm intimately familiar with it. So I'm pretty sure I know what Lombre is going to do from the outset. It's just a matter of seeing if I'm correct. But this is a calculated risk regardless. Yep. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew that Lombre was going to use Fake Out. And it went for Fake Out a second time because Lombre is an idiot. Went for Fake Out 3 times? Is that the only move Lombre has? Like, brother in Christ, you have other moves, I think. All right, let's see what we got this time. 41 CP. Yeah, so we're getting usually between like 41 and 50 CP every time, which is good. That's pretty consistently what I want to see happen. I'm sorry that the process of kind of preparing between battles is not as interesting as the Battle Arcade necessarily, but this is one of those where you really do kind of need to think about like what is in the best interest for you in both the short run and the long run. And you kind of need to weigh your options against like, well, everything, frankly. And Blazer's got the Focus Blast all ready to go. Only problem is that Lileep is pretty bulky, as we saw before. Yeah, it's very bulky. Wow, Blazer actually survived. Let's go. Blazer's king. Never let there be any doubt. Blazer is a god. Nope, it is not. Blazer just barely couldn't push through that one. I think the critical hit was unnecessary, my guy. Well, there goes Chatot. But at what cost? Well, cost of Blazer and a significant portion of my CP. Dang it, I only got 36. I don't need to concentrate too much on my PP this time because this is the 7th battle in our set. So I don't need to really worry about PP because after this, it won't matter. Ninjask is up next, Primate, and Golbat. Already we're seeing a bit of a spike in the difficulty. So I think at this point, I am going to hold off on leveling them up just because I really don't need them to be here. Yeah, let's just go ahead and go. We only have so much CP that we're going to get this round, but fortunately, we're in a position where we already got the ability to restore PP unlocked, and that will stick around as long as we keep the run going. So we should be okay. That is already a huge thing, and next round we can work on... What? Ninjask, I think you don't quite understand how Baton Pass works. Of course I get a critical hit. Again, critical hits. Unbelievable. My luck with critical hits in this, like these battle facilities, have just been like, just so back and forth on this. I swear. Like, I am getting hit with the critical hits when they absolutely matter, because there's no way you're going to convince me that Blazer would have not gotten knocked out otherwise. Like, come on. Oh, my God. Well, in any case, we beat veteran Eric. Whoa. You're an animal trainer already. Yeah, you one-shot my Pokemon, but thanks. So let's see how much we get for that performance. So in this case, we only got 22 CP because I didn't increase any of their levels and one of my Pokemon fainted. But that's okay. Would you like to delete your existing battle that you saved for the last battle? No! But there we go. Congratulations on clearing 7 consecutive battles. For your valiant ever, Griffin, please accept this BP. Yeah, you probably forgot about the BP system because you're too focused on the CP and the PP and the HP. But back to BP. We got 3 BP for our trouble. We'll return any items that we were holding for you. And again, they immediately make you save the game because they do not want you to be scummy about this at all, which is fine. All right, round 2, baby. Welcome. Griffin, as per the rules, I must ask your Pokemon's held items. They will be returned to you when you leave. I also have for you 10 castle points, so they can all be used here. Please choose what you wish to do. So, yes, once you start the next round, you do get an additional 10 CP to kind of get started with, but all your previous CP does carry over from your previous run. Because, again, it's one continuous deal here. I only permanently lose all my CP if the run properly ends, you know, from horrible failure. But that's definitely not going to happen. So, since we have 119 CP, I'm going to concentrate on identifying my opponent's stuff, and then if I have enough left over, I am going to focus on getting another upgrade for myself. Okay, I'm going to take this time to rank up my shop for held items just so I have access to stuff. My hope is that I can get enough CP to get the Power Herb, so that way we can get Blazer's Solar Beam strategy back in action again. Let's see what I have available right now. Yes, okay, I actually can get the Power Herb right now. That's actually huge. So I'm going to get that. Okay, so yeah, so right now we only have King's Rock, Quick Claw, Shell Bell, Power Herb, Metronome, Light Clay, Grip Claw, Big Root, Todsworth, Flame Orb, Light Ball, and Thick Club. Okay, so we still have quite a few items that we don't have unlocked, but at least we do have the Power Herb. The only thing I don't believe, and I would like to be right, but I'm pretty sure I'm not, I'm pretty sure that the Power Herb is a one-time usage. It's not like the one that I brought in properly for Blazer. So once it's used up, that is it. But it only costs 5 CP to get, so if I am able to reasonably afford it, I'm definitely going to go for it, because it's such a good item for Blazer's strategy here. Let's go ahead and proceed onwards. But forget about Solar Beam for right now, because we have much bigger fish to fry. And by fish, of course, I mean vines. And by fry, I actually sincerely mean fry with fire, because that's how that works. All right, it's time to test if my theory is correct here. So we're going to do Solar Beam, and we're going to use the Power Herb right away. And obviously, it's going to do its thing. Well, definitely want to pay attention to see if in the next round that Power Herb is still there. Again, I'm pretty sure it will go away because of how it is used. But hey, either way, I'm not going to complain about a critical hit, super effective Solar Beam. Let's go! Cherub cost me 1 whole CP just because of the stupid that happened there. Can you ride a bike? It's healthy and a lot of fun. It sure is. I actually can't ride a bike. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before, but I am not... it's like I have to get a really tall bike if I actually want to ride a bike. That's the problem when you are a 6'7" monster. Okay, yes. So after the Power Herb is used, I do have to keep investing. But it is worth it. And the nice thing is, if I don't end up using Solar Beam, then I can just keep the Power Herb. Okay, Onyx, Elekid, and Loudred. Interesting. I'll go ahead and increase Onyx's level by 5 as well. Onyx, again, is a very big Pokemon, but it is not that powerful. Its biggest stat is obviously its defense, as we've discussed. And it is very good, but it's not that great otherwise. I'd like to take a break. No, we have to begin right away. If you want to take a break, I shouldn't agree to come in. I got better things to do than work with people that just don't want to work. I'm going to go for Focus Blast and just try to get Onyx off without that. Because if I can withhold, I'm using the power herb this round, that would be to my benefit. That's 5 less BP I have to spend. See? You got to think about everything you do. There's Loudred. We've talked about Loudred before, but I believe this is the first time we're encountering it. Either that or it's the first time that we're encountering it since I've recorded any of the previous episodes, because my mind is in a haze right now. I want you to pay attention to the stars. Notice that the amount of stars right beneath Lady Caitlin have changed. The stars will actually increase the number of rounds that you are successful in completing. So once we get to the third set of 7, the amount of stars in there should increase to 3. Keep that in mind. It's the workers of the world like us who keep the world going. I have bad news for you, buddy. Okay, Blazer, second burst, same as the first. Flamethrower should work on Sandshrew. It should just knock it out, as we established previously. That's how it worked before. That is a nice thing about these battle facilities is that, because again, like, not to discredit any of them, but, you know, what really separates all the battle facilities is the gimmicks of each facility. That's what makes them particularly challenging. That isn't to say that there aren't any differences in how they approach doing things like inflicting chip damage, like in this place, for instance. But the Pokemon are, for the most part, pretty much the same. So once you know that you can one-shot them in one facility, you already have an assurance that you can knock them out in one shot in another facility. It doesn't matter. It's a different facility. So it is nice to see that I'm kind of learning from the patterns and kind of really picking on to what is the best way to deal with this. Okay, I should be fine as far as my PP this turn. The Blazer is still at full HP, but we do need to get another Power Herb. That is essential for this round. My hope is that in this round I can get 150 CP to use, and then I can concentrate on unlocking the last set of items for myself, because then I don't have to worry about it in subsequent rounds. I'm not going to screw around with Lord Helix. We know that Solar Beam will definitely be enough, and the Power Herb is going to facilitate that once again. Okay, what did you have, Luxio? Oh, Luxio did not have Intimidate. Interesting. I would have figured that Luxio would have Intimidate, but no. In this case, this Luxio has Rivalry, if my memory serves me well. See, this is why I don't bother with the analysis on the Pokemon, because I already know everything they're going to do. Because I'm just that good at it. But obviously, if you need the info, by all means, go for it. I berate myself for my own lack of care. Don't, dude. I have done my homework on literally all your Pokemon. I've done bios for all your Pokemon. I do need to begrudgingly restore Blade of PP, because Blazer has no more usage of Focus Blast, and I need Focus Blast just as a good alternate strategy. Hwah, hwah! Why do you do this, Electabuzz? Why do you have to be this guy and paralyze my team? What do you get out of it? Honestly. Is it just the intrinsic satisfaction of knowing you slowed me down for a minute? All right, you know what? I'm going to take a calculated risk here. Okay, that is not what I thought Sandshrew was going to do. I honestly thought that Sandslash was going to go for Dig here. And so I was trying to outmaneuver it. It's one of those things where it's like me, I was thinking a little too far ahead and just assumed that Sandslash would use Dig. But no, I guess I could have identified their info if I really cared that much. All right, Akira, please delete Combuskin now. I guess I shouldn't complain too much when my Pokemon tend to do relatively well, when I'm only having to worry about one of my Pokemon getting knocked out. But even so, it still sucks because I don't get as much BP here. 22 CP. I spent just as much to get to that point. Dragonair. Okay, I'm going to leave Dragonair alone, but I will increase the little Sneasler. I keep saying Sneasler. Sneasler's not here. Caesar is not in this game. Just Sneasel. Also, take a look at the little portraits of Caitlin on the left there. Very cute. I did not notice that until now. Hey, sup? I should warn you, I'm right fast, trainer. Hold on to your hat. Well, yeah, I would hope so. Also, once again, we see another instance of somebody riding their bike indoors. Excuse me, sir, that's not permitted. Yeah, any Pokemon that's pretty much weak to Blazer is pretty much instantly going to get a level up, but is also going to die at the same time. So close, hey Blazer. So flipping close. Anyway, time to die. Okay, I've got a good 42 CP for that, so that's a good, acceptable number. Okay, we are now at the 7th match of the 2nd round here. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to identify some stuff in my opponent. I'm going to try to conserve my CP, just to, oh, Jesus. Just to try to see if I can't get the next item upgrade unlocked. So now I've gotten Blazer healed, and I've gotten the opponent's Pokemon more or less where I want them, although that Wigglytuff's going to be rough, I feel. I am going to take this time to upgrade once again the item rank. So now I have access to all of the rentable items and berries. I'm not going to worry about the CP for these right this second because it doesn't matter at the immediate moment. But in the next round, this absolutely will make a difference. I'm a psychic, though I may not look like one. I'll do something psychic. What kind of claim is that? It's like I don't look psychic, but I'll do something psychic for you. Grumpig. So, it is finally time. Am I going to demonstrate to you all why I hate Grumpig so much? We're about to see. Unless Blazer gets a critical hit, Flamethrower. Oh, it burned. That's actually huge. Oh, no. Oh, just die in a hole, Grumpig. Actually, go die. I hate you, Grumpig, so much. Every time with this garbage Pokemon, I always have to deal with this. I actually conveniently forgot that I had Focus Blast for a minute. I was like, what am I going to do against a Fairy type? It's like, I'm not going to do anything against a Fairy type because Wigglytuff's not a Fairy type in this game. It's a normal type. With, to the surprise of no one, a very nice Citrus Berry. Also, what are you doing, Wigglytuff? You opted for Dream Eater? Hate to tell you, but I kind of need to be asleep if you want to use Dream Eater on me. But hey, you do you. Now we're going to fight a moth. Uh-oh. And, of course, to the surprise of absolutely no one, I get hit with another critical hit that absolutely would have decided the time. Like, I just want to go away. Psychic. Okay, that's fine. I was very worried for a moment because I thought it was going to be using Bug Buzz. Because I'm pretty sure Venomoth can learn it. It doesn't matter that Blazer has fainted, though, at this point, because we win. Did you not notice I was levitating while I was in battle with you? I did not notice. You did kind of slide into frame, I guess, but so does everyone. Well, there we go. We got 28 CP at the very least. More importantly, we completed the 2nd round. That's a much better deal. Would you care to delete your existing battle video to say the last one? I love the way that he phrases this. Would you care to delete? It's not, would you like to delete? Would you care to delete your existing battle video? As if the care is going to make me any more likely to delete it. I still like that little detail, though. Congratulations on clearing 7 consecutive battles. Will you Valentine for Griffin? Please accept this BP. We once again receive 3 BP for completing the 2nd round of 7. Okay, so now that I have completed the 2nd round of 7, it's time for me to take on the 3rd round. And I really hope I do well at this, because if I do not, then it is going to be a very long night for me. For this specific round, I'm going to change up the order a bit. I am still going to be leading with Blazer, because Blazer is my man. But I'm also going to be bringing in both Mizumori and Hogan, for reasons that will become apparent later. All right, here we go to round 3. Welcome. Griffin, as per the rules, I must ask your Pokemon's held items. They'll be returned to you when you leave. I also have for you 10 castle points CP that can only be used here. Thank you, Darak. All right, we have 45 CP there's a lot that we can do now, especially since we don't need to worry about healing this round. So let's make effective use of our CP right now. So the nice thing is the power herb does end up getting used up, but other held items that I would be using on these guys are more likely not going to be more expensive, but they are also going to be poignant, which is going to be much better for my purposes. So let's see what we can give to Hogan that'll help him out here. Let's go ahead and give Hogan the expert belt. This is pretty much what Hogan was using before. Let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and give her the expert belt. I was kind of hesitating at first, but I'm going to go with what I have confidence in. And then Mizumori, can we give you an item? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give Mizumori the Quick Claw. I think that's going to be helpful against what we're going to be dealing with later. So, Quick Claw on Mizumori. So, now my Pokemon have held items. And again, with Mizumori and Hogan, I don't need to worry about changing out the items. It's not like they're going to go away at the end of the round. It's only Blazer that I really have to worry about if I want to keep using the Power Herb over and over again. But as long as I keep winning battles, I'll get more than 5 CP each round. So, should be good. So we're in a good spot now. Let's go ahead and proceed to the third round. And as pointed out earlier, you can now see that there are 3 stars at the top instead of 2. Whoa, youngster. What's most important is to never give up. Tell it to yourself, old man. The nice thing is that we're fighting Sandslash this time. Blazer isn't paralyzed, so I don't have to worry about Sandslash pulling any nonsense this time. Okay, I got a free switch. That's very nice. It is problematic that Octillery is focused energied up, but Mizumori is faster even without the Quick Claw. Oh, Octillery appears to have the Wakan Berry, which reduces Thunderbolt's power. I actually did. That reduced by quite a bit. Ice Wind is not going to do anything, buddy. It's going to lower Mizumori's speed, but I should remind everyone in the class that Mizumori ostensibly has an Octo resistance to ice. Also, Quick Claw, die. If there's one thing I would probably change about Mizumori's moveset for the Battle Frontier is that I would probably give it Earthquake, but I need a lot of BP to get Earthquake specifically. So it's something I may consider if I earnestly wanted to fully complete this, but, my priority here is mainly just to show off the Battle Frontier brains. And as long as I at least accomplish that, then I'll feel okay about this. Anyway, a Vico Tori for me, and we're back to 34 CP, plus the one I kept left over. Okay, so we are dealing with a Quilava, a Torkoal, and a Camerupt. Okay, we are 100% not going to be using Hogan in this case. Well, what's a guy to do? Oh yeah, throw God at him. So Blazer doesn't actually have a real good way of dealing with Camerupt. Obviously, ground-type moves do work, but Camerupt also has a lot of physical bulk and HP, so I'm not sure if this is going to work. I don't know. Oh, Blazer. Be fast. Stay fast. Shake the earth. So in the case of Torkoal, as we discussed previously, well, never mind. That strategy went to because Blazer could not hit with Focus Blast. Earthquake it is. Bro, you had a free shot. You had a free turn to do whatever you wanted, and you wasted it. So one might view this situation as problematic, given that I'm having to restore Blazer's HP all the time. But even at this particular stage of things, it's not like it's not like I have to restore my whole team, because Hogan has not done a thing. So I really only need to focus on Blazer's healing. Oh, God. Okay. Oh, God. Oh, come on! People! I'm sorry? I don't accept that they are not doing this on purpose. Are you kidding me? All 3 of them are water types. This is going to be rough regardless of what I do. But, are you flipping for real right now? All 3 of them are water type Pokemon? It obviously helps that Blazer does have Solar Beam. But it's my God, I'm so glad I taught Blazer Solar Beam specifically. Because really, truly, Blazer would be struggling out here if it were not for Solar Beam. I say that as I'm about to Focus Blast Lord Helix here, which is also super effective, but still, I hope that you really understand and appreciate that, like, yeah, coverage is really important here. Like, if you do not have coverage, the game will go out of its way to screw you over and just completely shut down your strategy. All right, come on, Crawdon. Be cooperative here. Thank you. So we got a nice clean victory with Blazer, knocking him out in 3 hits, so we get some extra BP for that. BP. CP. Darn with these terminologies. It's 1 letter off. 28 CP. That's fair. I didn't increase any of their levels, so it makes sense. But that's still a nice clean victory, and we needed that so bad. I'm going to take a look at Chansey's stats here since I feel like it's necessary in this case. Okay, so yeah, its defense is garbage. I'm a psychic, though. I may not look like it. I'll do something psychic. Yeah, that's what you said the last time, buddy. Wasn't impressed the first time, probably going to be less impressed the second time. Oh, Magmar's using Flamethrower, and it's coming out of its armpit? I almost had something there, but not that big of a deal. Yeah, so in a situation like Chansey, one would naturally assume that Focus Blast would be the best option, because, oh, Focus Blast is super effective. Nope. As we established previously, Chansey has trash physical defense. So Earthquake is actually far and away the better option. The only problem is that Chansey has a lot of HP, and it physically takes longer for Chansey's HP to go down to 0 specifically. Also, really, Chansey's opting in for Focus Punch of all things? Chansey's physical attack is also garbage. I think it's actually worse than its physical defense. Like, why Focus Punch? I can reasonably assume it has the Lucky Punch item, but I don't understand why else. Anyway, it was totally levitating, guys. Let's proceed onwards. The biggest problem is going to be that Dusclops, but I do have Hogan in reserve. Is this the same guy? No, this is not the same guy. I see what I have no right seeing, like there, behind you. Oh, so now they're just messing with me. I swear they're actually trying to mess with me. Not just my character. Oh, this is a different person altogether. It's like a Celine. Which is totally not using the same Chansey as Psychic Alpha earlier. Good thing that Egg Bomb doesn't take very long. It was a critical. Chansey does have the flippin' Lucky Punch item. Oh. Mightyena had the Choppleberry. It still might be enough. Choppleberry does not always guarantee anything, but it guarantees enough in most cases. This is going to be the biggest problem, mainly because it's exerting its pressure. Its pressure ability is actually even more problematic here than usual because my Pokemon's PP don't get restored naturally after the fight. So any PP I use is doubled and irreversibly doubled. So it is a bit of a problem, but fortunately Dusclops does not seem to be hitting all that hard, even with the double damage of Payback. So should be okay. And of course I say that and then I get confused. Blazer, this really does come down to this. I need you to hit with Flamethrower right now. I'm profoundly disappointed. Come on. Okay, we get. It did cost us quite a few flamethrowers, though, unfortunately, but that is the nature of Dusclops. It is a special breed of pain in this facility. Okay, we have 2 more battles. We just need to get through this next battle, and then we're good. We have 103 CP, so I could unlock the full restore option, but I'm not going to go for that because at this point, it's not worth having. I'd rather save the CP for later battles, or at least one later battle. So, okay, we just need to get through this fight, and then we will be good to fight the Frontier Brain. My only concern is that Electabuzz pulled the same last time. Honestly, I should have given Blazer a berry to deal with that. I knew it was going to happen, and I didn't do anything about it. Okay, Persian could actually potentially be a huge, huge problem because now Blazer is both paralyzed and confused. That's not good. Blazer, please push through. Nope. Okay, we're switching out. My big problem with Hitmontop is that it's probably Okay, what? Okay, I was genuinely worried for a second that Hitmontop was going to use counter, but no, it just used focus energy and then Mach Punch again. Okay, well, not going to complain about that, I suppose. Just need to get one more good shot on Persian, and then we'll be good to go. Yeah, nice try. That trick ain't going to work twice. I mean, it could have, but it didn't, because Hogan's the best. And you, Persian, are trash. And that is it. Got over to my training, ran out of stamina early. That's what she said. Anyway, Dark, CP for this trainer once. Griffin, well done. Quite a remarkable victory it was. Lady Cadence instructed me to award you 32 CP, as always. Well, not as always. Explicitly not as always. Griffin, congratulations. You are to be commended on your mastery for keeping the streak alive. Our owner, appreciating your worth, demands you battle the Castle Valet. You are prepared, yes? Indeed, I am. But let's get a little bit of info. Well, first of all, let's do some healing. Let's take a look and see what we're working with here. So first Pokemon we're going to be fighting is Staraptor. Second one is Houndoom. And third one is Empoleon. So we know what we're going to be fighting. Like, this is the Frontier Brains team. Like, no question. Now, in this case, because it is the Frontier Brains team, I am actually going to take advantage of the surplus of CP that I have at the moment, and I am going to decrease their levels because I want to be cheap. I don't care. All right. I think with all the preparation that we have done, I think it is finally time to fight off against the leader of the Battle Castle, or rather the Frontier Brain of the Battle Castle. Let's go. Very well. Please proceed. Welcome. I am Dark, as you know, and I am the Castle Valet. Lady Caitlin, my employer, is not one to accept defeat willingly. However, for a reason I'm not at liberty to disclose, she cannot battle. Consequently, I will do battle in her ladyship's place. Let me assure you that you won't be shortchanged by facing me. On guard. Let's go! We're fighting Dark! We're challenged by Castle Valet Dark in the stead of Lady Caitlin. He's going to be starting off with Staraptor. In this case, due to my efforts, level 45. Staraptor, as you can see, has the ability Intimidate and is cutting down Blazer's attack. Now, it is worth pointing out that because of the rules of this specific battle facility and the fact that they want you to explicitly use your things to get informed about what the team has, this Staraptor actually has one of two different movesets. So it can either have the moves Return, Aerial Ace, Double Team, and Roost, or it can have the moves Endeavor, Aerial Ace, Endure, and Quick Attack. A very cheap strategy for a Staraptor to have, but either one of them can be a huge problem. The Staraptor will also be holding a King's Rod to increase the odds of it inflicting flinches to you. It has a jolly nature. It has 252 effort values in its attack and its speed. So it's going to hit hard and it's going to hit very fast. So be extremely cautious when fighting this thing. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and use Flamethrower. Looks like it is double teamed, so it's going to be working with the first moveset that I talked about. Again, in this case, it has the moves Return, Aerial Ace, Double Team, and Roost. So the big problem is that Staraptor could potentially, survive and then just spam Roost over and over while increasing its HP with Roost. But that's all right, because we knocked it out in one hit because my Blazer is 5 levels ahead. Next up, he's going to be sending in Empoleon. In this case, level 45 due to my CP usage. It's holding the Razor Claw item. It can either have the moves Waterfall, Metal Claw, Brick Break, and Knockoff, or it has the moves Drill Peck, Aqua Jet, Shadow Claw, and Rock Slide. Again, which one it is just determined by your system of figuring out the information. Either way, it will have the Adamant nature and has 252 attack and special defense effort values. So if you can, go for physical damage, because that's going to be your best friend here. In this case, I am going to be using Earthquake, because that's going to be my best strategy against Empoleon in this specific situation. Okay, we are going to be able to see something. Okay, in this case, Empoleon has Rock Slide. So as a reminder, that means Empoleon has the moves Drill Peck, Aqua Jet, Shadow Claw, and Rock Slide. But more importantly, I got a critical hit, super effective Rock Slide that knocked out Blazer in one hit, and I hate myself. Why does this keep happening? Honestly. What am I doing to deserve this nonsense? Like, am I reasonable to think that, like, maybe Blazer would have survived? Whatever. I knew Hogan would finish off Empoleon, because Hogan's the best. That's what he does. All right, his last Pokemon is Houndoom, level 45. Focus Sash is its held item. It has one of two movesets. It has the moves Fire Fang, Crunch, Roar, and Counter, or it has the moves Fire Fang, Thunder Fang, Reversal, and Endure. Either way, it has the Jolly Nature, has 252 effort values in its attack and its speed. So much like Staraptor, it hits hard, it hits fast, but weird that it's focused in its physical attack. I mean, it makes sense with respect to its moveset, but Houndoom's more of a special attacker, if I'm being brutally honest. Either way, we're going to use Brick Break. I'm pretty sure this will not knock out Houndoom in one shot due to that Focus Sash, but how much of a problem that's going to be is going to depend on its moveset. If it has Reversal, we should be okay. If it has Counter, it's a problem. It is Counter! That's acceptable. I acknowledge that that would happen. Okay. So, he's bringing me down to my last Pokemon. That is crazy. Okay, so before we get into, well, defeating Houndoom here, let's talk about Dark for a second, because I got really invested in the battle here. So, first of all, it's worth pointing out that Dark's team will always be the same three Pokemon with the same effort values, natures, abilities, and held items. However, as we've discussed previously, his Pokemon are subject to having one of two different movesets. This applies also to his rematch, so if you have the ability to get information on them, you might as well do it. It's also worth pointing out that Lady Caitlin does appear next to Dark when you battle him, but you are only technically fighting Dark. Lady Caitlin does not actually actively participate in the battle, as Dark explained. It's also worth pointing out that his battle sprite is the only case of any trainer in all of the DS Pokemon games to have a versus sprite with two characters on it. And also, his in-battle sprite has more frames than usual, which is very weird. Obviously, it's not quite the same case as Palmer having post-battle animation, but still, it is interesting that he has more frames than anything else. Aside from that, Darak is not much more than he appears to be, though it is implied by one of the NPCs that we talked to outside that he does harbor feelings for Lady Caitlin. But more importantly, above anything else, some of you may recognize Caitlin from somewhere else. And that is because Lady Caitlin is actually also one of the Unova Elite Four. But here's the thing, this was a fact that we had zero knowledge about when this game came out. This is just one of the things where she was here in this game, and then in Next Generation, they decided to actually make her a fully fleshed out trainer, which is fantastic. And he's the only Frontier Brain, Dark in this case, to have a signature Pokemon. And in that case, that's Empoleon. All right, Houndoom is using Crunch. All we need is for Mizumoy to survive, and we're good. That's it. We defeated Castle Ballet Darak. My Pokemon cannot be faulted in any way, shape, or form. My hat's off to you. You don't wear a hat, my guy. But either way, that we will take the victory. Griffin, you are truly in possession of a superlative talent. I drew on every reserve of experience and etiquette handed down through our heritage and of glorious servitude. But even then, I failed to fend off your inspired and inspiring challenge. I shall see to appeasing Lady Caitlin's displeasure at my loss. Griffin, please do return to our battle castle. We will be delighted and feel privileged to have you back. Darak, CP for the straight at once. Just awkwardly come back in. Griffin, good effort. Lady Caitlin has instructed me to award you 14 CP. Well, to be fair, I did spend a lot to debilitate his team. That's the difference you see there. I'm not going to delete the previous battle video. I don't need to, because I already have all this footage recorded for y'all's entertainment. Congratulations on clearing 7 consecutive battles. For your balance ever, Griffin, please accept this BP. And like all other cases, we got 20 BP because we defeated a Battle Frontier Brain. We'll return any items that we were holding for you. Congratulations! In recognition of your victory, we present you with a commemorative print. The silver print was added to my versus recorder. I should have 4, but of course I have 3. And once again, Balba's calling me after these battles. Jesus! Oh, hi, Griffin. This is Warden Balba. We've come up with new objects. With these, you should be able to meet lots of different Pokemon. Do your best. Thank God I'm getting these now. It's so helpful. So before we end this episode here, I do want to give you a quick overview of Darak's second fight, if you do decide to go for the 49th match. One of the Pokemon that he will be working with is Entei. Yeah, that's right. Entei will be one of his Pokemon. He'll be holding a Shuka Berry regardless of which orientation you work with him. Much like the first battle with Darak, his Entei will have one of 2 different movesets. It will either have the moves Fire Blast, Solar Beam, Hyper Beam, and Sunny Day, or it will have the moves Overheat, Extrasensory, Shadow Ball, and Calm Mind. Both excellent movesets for an Entei. Either way, Entei will have the modest nature and have 252 effort values in its special attack and its speed. His second Pokemon will once again be Empoleon. Like I said, Empoleon is his signature Pokemon. This time, Empoleon will have a Quick Claw instead of the Razor Claw. This Empoleon will have the moves Surf, Earthquake, Blizzard, and Signal Beam, or it will have the move Hydro Cannon, Flash Cannon, Drill Peck, and Earthquake. Either way, it will have a Brave Nature with 252 attack and 252 special attack effort values. And his third Pokemon will be Gallade. It will be holding the Scope Lens item, and will have the moves Psycho Cut, Stone Edge, Aerial Ace, and X Scissor, or it will have the moves Psycho Cut, Close Combat, Leaf Blade, and Night Slash. Either way, it will have the Adamant Nature, and will have 252 attack and 252 special defense effort values. Needless to say, this is a very fearsome team to go against, especially factoring in that Entei. But anyway, that is going to do it for our time at the Battle Castle. I hope that you found the CP system interesting. I know you can definitely add a little bit of tedium to certain fights, especially if you have to keep worried about your Pokemon, but if you really do set things up correctly, if you give yourself some good coverage, as I've demonstrated repeatedly with Blazer, you don't really need to worry too much about the earlier fights. You can really get through a lot of these fights effectively, and if you play things right, you can get rewarded immensely and get some really nice stuff early on. So give it a try if you haven't. I'm the super idol in Johto. I've come all the way to the Battle Frontier to promote my latest song. But everybody seems to be a Pokemaniac here. Oh, jeez, you're one of those cases. Well, in any case, we're going to move on to the final battle facility here at the Battle Frontier, and that is the Battle Hall. Let each Pokemon seek number 1. Let's go inside. Welcome to the Battle Hall. Let's talk to some folks because, boy, this place is a lot. The Battle Hall lets you keep the winning streak records. That's neat, huh? Wait a sec. My friend and I can start challenges with identical conditions and see who can stretch their win streak the longest. That's even more fun. Yes, that is one way you can go about this facility if you have friends. We'll get into the specifics of what he means by win streak. Do you eat your favorite dish first or leave it for later? At the Battle Hall, it's better to start with the types that your Pokemon do not like. Why? Because the opposition goes up in level as you progress. Interesting. What do you have to say? Hello. The opulent stage. Your streaks of winnings are kept per each kind of Pokemon. Every Pokemon can get up there. Don't you think it's wonderful you can aim for the top with any Pokemon? Interesting. What do you have to say? Interesting. You actually have a name here, Serena. It's about the Battle Hall. It hasn't excited me lately. There's been no gorgeous sort of challenger who can dazzle me. The kind of challenger who can make me a fan. Aren't there any around? Well, I want to remember Serena for later when I go over this facility, because she actually does matter substantially more than the NPCs in here. There is a reason I'm talking to everyone, and Serena is definitely the most important one of them. Slow. My Slowbro is a cutie, but he's even battled the brain here. But the brain will take your Pokemon at the same level, to be fair. Interesting. We got some info on the brain here. At the Battle Hall, if it's the same kind of Pokemon, you can enter different ones and still keep your record. You may want to have different ones knowing different types of moves. Oh, interesting. I actually did not factor that in, but good to know. You know how Hoppip has 2 types, grass and flying? That means he can appear as a grass type and as a flying type. Me? You could think of me as a light-hearted type and a beautiful type, I guess. Lady, hate to say, your years of lighthearted beautifulness are long gone, and she's not even looking at me anymore. Fair enough. A piece of advice. At the Battle Hall, the opposing Pokemon are matched in level to yours. That way, you can choose any of your Pokemon without worrying about their levels. Yes, so now that we've talked to just about everyone here... Oh, wait, no, there's still you. Here's a tip. You should try the Battle Hall with not just your favorite Pokemon, but different kinds of Pokemon if you want to build your overall record as well. Okay, so now that we've kind of talked to everyone here, let's talk about how the Battle Hall works. So, the Battle Hall is, without question, both the most straightforward facility as well as the most complicated and tedious facility in the game, especially if you want to unlock everything out of it. So the Battle Hall is substantially more unique in comparison to other facilities. Each round consists of 10 battles instead of the usual 7, and you may only use 1 Pokemon for single battles and 2 for double battles. The idea is to showcase that one specific Pokemon, and you get rewarded for keeping a streak going with that one Pokemon. Once the Pokemon is entered, you get to actually choose from a list of all Pokemon types and decide what type of Pokemon you want to fight. Now, at first, the opposing Pokemon are much weaker than your Pokemon, both in terms of base stats and level. But as you continue to fight Pokemon of the same type, they rank up and progressively get more difficult to fight, gaining higher stat totals and slowly encroaching on your level. Once you reach rank 10 in a certain type and defeat that, you are no longer permitted to challenge that type and must look at a different type. If you're curious as to how levels are determined in this particular facility, look at this image on screen here. Yeah, when Pokemon does math, they do math. Oh, but there is so much more to this facility than simply that and its impressive math. Because, like I said, this facility is meant to be an exposition of your Pokemon. And as a result of that, there is far more to calculate than simply the win streak of one Pokemon. The Battle Hall also calculates your overall total win streak between any and all of your Pokemon that you use here, as well as the amount of unique Pokemon that you use to challenge this facility. Let's explain the easiest one, which is the unique species reward. Once you get started at the Battle Hall, you get a fan that appears in the lobby. If you're playing as the male character, you get a girl named Serena, who is probably not that Serena. If you're playing as a female character, you get a boy named Winston as your fan. These two characters actually have dialogue that changes depending on how many Pokemon you ultimately use at the Battle Hall. Specifically, their dialogue changes at 1, 11, 31, 51, 101, 151, 251, 351, and 475 species of Pokemon, which at that point is literally every single Pokemon in the entire game that isn't forbidden at the Battle Frontier. Additionally, once you get your species count to 11 and 101 respectively, your fan will actually move closer to the attendant of the Battle Hall. Oh, but the win streak requirements are far more insane. More insane than anything you could possibly anticipate. Because in addition to your fan, certain major NPCs can also appear in the lobby to cheer you on, based on the total combined win streak of all individual Pokemon used to challenge the Battle Hall. There's a 30% chance once per day that the NPC will spawn when the player hits a new win streak of 10 in the Battle Hall. Oh, but don't think they're just gonna show up right at the gate. You gotta earn their presence. To unlock Lyra or Ethan as a fan, depending on your character's gender, you gotta have a win streak of 500. Your mom can also appear in the lobby, but only after you get a win streak of 1,000 battles. Additionally, either Professor Oak and Whitney could appear as well, but only after you get a win streak of 10,000 battles. Let me repeat that. You have to win 10,000 times just so one of these two has a 30% chance of appearing. Oh, but that's not all. There's also additional BP that you can earn depending on how many successive wins you earn with all your Pokemon. For example, if two Pokemon win 10 times each, then the total record is 20. And when you complete a streak of 10, bonus BP will get awarded when it pushes the total past certain milestones. At 10 wins, you get 1 additional BP. At 30 wins, you get 3 BP. At wins 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400, and 450, you get 5 BP. At wins 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, and 1,000, you get 10 BP. At wins 1,200, 1,400, 1,600, and 1,800, you get 30 BP. At 2,000 wins, as well as every further multiple of 500 wins until you reach 10,000 wins, you get 50 BP. And once you reach 10,000 wins, as well as every further multiple of 10,000 until you reach 100,000 wins, you will receive BP equal to your win record divided by 100, ranging from amounts of 100 BP to 1,000 BP. So, yeah, it's ridiculous. And it is an insane amount of work to get everything that you could possibly get out of the Battle Hall. But at the same time, the rewards are fantastic. If you're willing to put in the time, there are insane things you can get out of this facility. But for obvious reasons, I am not going to be doing all that because that is an absolute insane time killer. So for the purposes of this Let's Play, what are we going to be doing with this? Well, seeing as Blazer has been just absolutely killing it at all the facilities, I'm going to continue to glaze our God of Destruction today and have him do things. We are going to have to approach this slightly differently than before, and I'll explain why exactly, but trust me, it's not going to be as quick as you think it'll be. So let's go ahead and get started here. Welcome to the Battle Hall. I'm your guide to single double battle challenges. Please be aware those challenges are designed for a single trainer. Which challenge would you like to take? We are going to take the single battle challenge because like all other battle facilities, if you want to fight the Frontier Brain, you have to do the single battle challenge. And like I said, we are going to be entering Blazer, and for once, Blazer's level actually kind of matters, as I've explained earlier, and you'll kind of see what the difference it'll make. And as always, we do have to save our game because they do not want us to do any scummy things, but that is totally fine here. Right this way, please. I'm gonna go down this nice little entryway because there always has to be one for some reason. And yeah, we're going to be showing off God of Destruction Blazer in this fabulous arena. Please choose the type of Pokemon you will battle. So yeah, when I say any type of Pokemon, I really do mean it. Any type of Pokemon is on the table, and they all start off at rank 1. So to demonstrate how this works, I'm going to go ahead and go with rank 1 Bug and see what we get. Fan Club Department Manager, I hereby accept your challenge. Are you calling me the Fan Club Department Manager, or are you just saying that you are in a very weird way? Well, anyway, in this case, her Pokemon is just going to be starting out with is Wurmple. So it is level 50, which is it's about a third less than Blazer, which makes sense. So they wouldn't be starting out at exactly level 50 necessarily. The reason that it starts at level 50 is because of Blazer's level. If Blazer were a higher level, Wurmple would probably be a higher level as well. And once you get a victory, you get that little bit of confetti every single time. And your Pokemon will be fully restored after every single fight. So now we're going to continue, and like all the other battle facilities, I am going to mostly skip over a lot of it because, again, this is a lot of tedious fighting, but I will still be talking about a few things as they come up. For the sake of demonstration, once again, I will be doing a second bug type, so you kind of see the level increment go up. My room is always full of bugs. That drives my mom just wild. Well, I would hope so. Your mom seems like a completely rational person. So yeah, now we're fighting Ladybug, and it's one level higher than before. Jay Christ. So one thing I am doing while we're going through these preliminary battles here is I am actually taking advantage of the Power Herb strategy, and I'm ripping off the Band-Aid for a few water types early on. Not that it particularly matters because it's not like they necessarily get more difficult as you like get to like the next round necessarily. They're just guaranteed to become more difficult by virtue of them, well, just ranking up. Additionally, there is actually one thing I'm hoping to trigger, but at a certain point, if it doesn't show up, then I won't bother with it. But there is something that I do want to at least try to show up if it is remotely possible. If you're curious as to what I am trying to show up, given that these are really simple, basic one-on-one battles, there are certain Pokemon that I really want to see if I can show up, because there are 3 specific Pokemon in this battle facility that actually know moves that they're not supposed to know. And so if I can actually show those on screen, it'd be to my benefit. But if not, I'll just gladly point them out later. So it's at this point that I'm now at battle number 7, and you probably think to yourself, wow, you're almost done with the first round. That's very impressive. Nope. I am not done with the first round. As a reminder, I do not finish a round until I finish 10 battles. So me getting to round 7 means nothing. So do note here that I opted in for a grass type and ended up fighting Lotad, a water grass type. So just because you select a certain type that you like does not necessarily mean that it's going to be a Pokemon that you're going to do well against. It only guarantees one of the types. It may end up also having a type combination that's still an advantage over you, so keep that in mind. Okay, so now I've moved on to battle number 10. Just to kind of give you an idea of what I've been working on right now, I've mostly been concentrating on water, grass, bug, and rock types. Again, this is partially because I'm trying to show off a specific Pokemon among these types, but I haven't quite found it yet. But again, there is no like real right or wrong way to do this, just anything that you would be comfortable doing. Again, I do recommend trying to work on some of the stuff that you're weak against earlier on, just to kind of get it out of the way. That way you can kind of concentrate on things that you would do better against later on, just to keep your win streak going. But to each their own. Like, there really is no wrong way to do this. That's why I didn't really give any specific tips otherwise, aside from keep winning and keep winning a lot. So let's see if I can find it this time. Okay, Roma Alicia. Okay, no, she does not have the Pokemon that I want. So I guess since we're here, let me talk about one of the Pokemon I'm talking about, because I'm not convinced at this point that I'm going to find it. So one of the Pokemon that you can fight here is Roselia. Now, Roselia on its own, not that big of a deal. But the thing is, in this facility, Roselia knows the move Sludge, which Roselia cannot normally learn. Yeah, Roselia has an illegal poison type move. Also, we're pointing out that once you complete a win streak of 10, you get a neat little extra bit of confetti. But yeah, we've completed 10 Battle Hall matches. Before you stupendous win streak, you and Typhlosion get our awarded BP. Got 1 whole BP, guys. You might think that's underwhelming, but again, we are going to get a little bit more. Don't forget. Okay, so Serena, now that I've completed a match of 10, what do you have to say now? Excuse me? If you don't mind me asking, are you getting into the Battle Hall? It's fun in an engrossing way, isn't it? Did you know? The more you win, the more kinds of Pokemon appear. Interesting. Thanks for the hot tips, Serena. So you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, sweet, that was really quick. I only have to do that a couple more times, right? Not exactly. Because these battles are one-on-one and they ultimately do not take all that long to complete, 21 battles is not the requirement to fight the Battle Frontier Brain this time. If you want to fight the Battle Frontier Brain, you got to win 50 battles in a row. So I'm only 20% done. I got to do this 4 more times with Blazer specifically. So cue the montage. Okay, so this lady has thrown out a Croconaut here, and I can tell you right now, this will guarantee that I'm not going to find one of the other Pokemon that I'm looking for. So let's talk about that. So among the Pokemon that you can technically fight here, Totodile is one of them. And Totodile in this facility knows the move Brine, which it cannot normally learn. So that is 2 Pokemon that I've confirmed that have straight up illegal movesets. Okay, youngster Joey is calling me. What do you want, Joey? Griffin, howdy. Joey, how are you? Oh yeah, I saw a wild Metapod. I thought I was going for it, but then I failed. Oh well, I guess that's just the way it goes. I'm not very good at catching Pokemon. Aw, come on, Joey, tell us about your cool Rattata. Okay, so that is 40 battles down. We still have 10 more to go, but I just wanted to kind of briefly take a moment to acknowledge that, yes, it really does require that much just to make any meaningful progress in the place. I also want to draw special attention to a particular class of trainer that popped up twice. There was an instance where I was fighting a scientist, and what's interesting about the scientist class is that in the overworld, the scientist is not using the overworld scientist model. They're using a child model. However, this is not an error because if you actually read the text, it's implied that he's using some sort of experiment to give him more youth, and that the youth temporarily went away during the battle, which I find very funny and interesting because this never came up in other battle facilities. This is just one of those things to just add a little bit more flavor to your experience of fighting Pokemon trainers here. And I think that's really cool, and I really wish they would do more things like that. But then again, I think they also went a little more unhinged with the dialogue in later games. So pick your poison. It's going to be weird either way. But we still have 10 more battles to do regardless, so let's get those last 10 battles taken care of. And before we get started with that, I am going to kind of show off how I am progressing with Blazer and kind of generally what I focused on. Okay, so among the Pokemon that I've been working with, I've been doing a mix of Pokemon that I am good against and also weak against. I've been doing a good mix of water and grass types, for instance. I've done a lot of rock and bug types. I've done a few steel and ground types. I've also done a couple of flying and ice types throughout this campaign as well. I've not really touched electric for no particular reason. The only Pokemon that I've actively been avoiding for the most part are Pokemon that I don't really have any advantage against one way or the other. Not that they wouldn't be worth fighting, especially in rank 1, just trying to knock things out, but I just want to keep things interesting and give myself a bit of a challenge, but also give myself a bit of an advantage. Now, before we get into the last few battles, I do want to acknowledge the third Pokemon that I am more likely not going to fight, because I didn't find any of the other ones before either. The third Pokemon that also knows an illegal move among the Pokemon you could potentially find here in the Battle Hall is Anorith. If you fight Anorith here, it will have the move Stone Edge, which Anorith cannot normally learn. Now, to be fair, its evolution can learn Stone Edge, which is probably why the Anorith here can know Stone Edge in the first place. But that doesn't make this move on Anorith any less illegal. And the fact that 3 different Pokemon have illegal movesets in this facility specifically is really ridiculous and also very funny. So yeah, let's continue on with our next challenge and press on ahead to the end, and hopefully we'll find out what's in that bottom right-hand corner over there. What's also interesting about this particular facility, and not just for this facility actually, it's been coming up in a few other battle facilities, we're encountering trainer classes that we don't really see in this game, or at least not outside of the battle frontier. This is interesting because these are actually trainer classes that we can find in Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. Like the Pikachu cosplay and the waitress here. You wouldn't find those trainer classes out in the field, at least not in this game. But here, they do show up, and I'm glad that they are here in some capacity. Another thing to note when dealing with poison types, just based on my observation, a lot of the poison types that you're more likely not going to encounter are grass types. So if you are using a fire type, definitely keep that in mind. This is a poor example of that, but yeah, we can legitimately counter grass types among the poison types, as you probably saw during the montage. But of course, Nidoqueen has to show up and disprove that point immediately. Okay, it knows Shadow Ball. I was very worried it was going to go for Earthquake, but I should be fine. But at this point, I'm not going to touch poison types, because even though they are still weaker than Blazer, evidently in levels, it is still abundantly clear that the SAT totals are increasing. So if I want to keep an easy streak going, I need to back off on poison types for the immediate moment. The main reason that I was going for poison types, aside from the fact that Blazer knows Earthquake, is because Roselia is a Pokemon that can potentially show up among the poison types. So I wanted to try my luck at getting that, because I was able to find a lot of other grass poison types, including Roselia's pre-evolution twice. Ground types have also been proving to be a relatively tricky type to work with, because in some cases I'm getting a free pass, but in most cases with the ground types I've been dealing with, it's not just been as simple as, oh, I have Solar Beam, therefore I win, because it's super effective. The first instance of me fighting ground type was a Gibble, and now the third instance of me fighting a Gabite, which, you know, we've established are very, very good Pokemon. So it is interesting that ground types are really not screwing around here. All right, let's see what rank 8 Bug would be in this case. We've seen multiple, like, really weak bug types. The biggest threat was that fortress I fought toward the end of the montage. But nothing much. Okay, Vespiquent's pretty good. That makes sense at rank 8. I mean, it's still no match for God of Destruction Blazer here, but, I mean, if I haven't proven that Blazer is very good here, I don't know how else I could do it. Because Blazer has been killing it. Seriously, I really hope that this, like, experience with the Battle Frontier has really helped to kind of show off, like, Blazer's potential here. Because, like, again, when we were going through, like, the main story of things, for the most part, Blazer was just using Flamethrower and Earthquake occasionally. But here, we're really seeing everything that I've put into Blazer come into effect here. Because every single decision I've made concerning Blazer and its moveset really paying off here. And I'm really happy to see it all pay off. I know y'all probably want to see me give credit to Saris or something, but again, if the stakes weren't high enough, then I would consider using Saris, but stakes are high. I do want to do well enough here. God, this department manager, she just won't leave me alone. Like, she doesn't have anything else to do. You had a deli bird. Have the deli bird deal with the deliveries of your department store, lady. Oh, Jesus. She knows. Guys, they know. If you know, you know. And I'm telling you, they know. They know what happened. They know what this horrible blight on society did. Okay, we just need to deal with one more Pokemon, and then we can fight the Frontier Brain. So let's just take on one more Ice type and fight the exact same woman again. Not bad, not bad, not bad at all. Oh, it actually is faster than Blazer. Minor problem. But also, perish. Burn to ashes once more. And there we go. I was worried about getting my coat dirty. Who cares about your battle? What the heck? What do you mean who cares? I've won 49 times. Anyway, here we go. Battle number 10 is next. Are you ready? Yes, I am. Okay, interesting. So we get to choose the type again. I'm gonna go for Electra this time. Excuse me, please hold on a moment. In recognition of your remarkable winning streak, our Frontier Brain is demanding a match with you. Actually, you have no choice. You must battle our Hall Matron. Yeah, so remember when I said, like, point at that little bottom right symbol there? This is what this is for. So, I have no idea what's in store for us, but we're going to find out. Oh, now the room is fully lit up. But here we go, guys. The most fabulous hall matron in all the land. So many pictures. Such fabulosity. So old. My battle hall allows trainers to mount challenges with their one preferred Pokemon. I imagine there were tense moments getting here with your chosen one. But understand that this one shines the brightest when a challenge is overcome. I am Argenta, and I am your final and most daunting challenge. I dare you to overcome my challenge. Here we go, guys! Final Frontier Brain, Argenta! We're challenged by Hall Matron Argenta. She's going to be using Gengar, level 75. As for his moveset, I will have it on screen because Argenta's Pokemon will be a random Pokemon whose stat total is comparable to your own. Since Blazer's stat total exceeds 500, she can use any Pokemon that pretty much falls in that category or higher. Now, unlike Frontier Brains, in case it has not been as firmly established, she has to be fought at the 50th battle for her first encounter. But if you want to fight her for the second time, you have to battle through this facility 170 times, where she will use a Pokemon of an even higher caliber. And because of the randomness of her one Pokemon, she has no proper canon team. The only, thing that we kind of have for her is that in the manga, she did use a Dragonite, but so does Palmer. And in Pokemon Master, she uses a Skarmory, which can Dynamax. So, yeah, nothing really concrete for Argenta. And frankly, there isn't anything interesting about her otherwise. But again, there is no concrete strategy here. She is totally unpredictable, and this can really go on. This can go one way or the other, honestly. Because Gengar's good, but so's Blazer. So, I don't know. I think given the circumstances, I am just going to keep using Flamethrower as much as I can, because I have to assume that this Gengar has Levitate, and Focus Blast and Solar Beam are not going to work. Yep, it's got Sludge Bomb. That's a problem. Oh, no. I don't think we can do it. Unless we get a critical hit right now. Never doubt it! Not for a second, Blazer! Let's go! Oh, I detest how fun times seem to end so quickly. Oh, Blazer! Never doubt the king! Never doubt the god instruction, Blazer! Let's go! A good trainer doesn't force their preferred Pokemon on anyone. A good one keeps their favorite without drama or fanfare. Well, without drama, yes. Fanfare, oh, heck yeah. That is how I see it, at least. And by the way I see it, you're an excellent trainer. Be sure to visit the Battle Hall again with a favorite Pokemon. Until then, bye-bye. There we go. I'm not going to lead that battle video, but hey, we completed the 10th Battle Hall match. And for defeating the Battle Frontier Brain, we once again get 20 BP. On top of like the 6 I got previously. Joy. Congratulations. In honor of your victory, we present you with this commemorative print. The silver print was added to Griffin's verse recorder. So we got every print. Except for Palmer's, but that critical hit mattered. I don't care what anyone says, that crit mattered. Okay? And with that, that is the entirety of the Battle Frontier covered. I have gone over every single battle facility and challenged each and every one of the Frontier Brains successfully. I was not able to defeat all of them, but I was able to defeat the majority of them in their initial match. So I still consider that an overall win. I'm just happy that I was able to fight them all to begin with. So next time on Pokemon HeartGold, now that we have covered the Battle Frontier in its entirety, we are going to fly back to Fuchsia City, and we are going to talk about one more facility that I did not cover in our initial visit. And in doing so, we will bear witness to the return of the king.